primates, and money. In fact, we see money emerge within other species. Highly intelligent species like primates, certain types of birds like crows, and even marine mammals like dolphins have forms of tokens they use to express value to each other. Or they can very quickly learn the mechanics of money. You can teach primates that if you turn in this pebble, you get a banana. And then watch, within a very short of time, how that not only becomes part of primate culture, but gets passed down to the next generation. And they start inventing economic activities, not nice economic activities. They invent strong armed robbery, beat up the other monkey and take its pebble so you can get bananas. They invent sexual favors for pebbles so you can get bananas. They invent some of the earliest economic activities. Money is ancient. It's an absolutely ancient technology, and none of us really understands it. In fact, if you want a demonstration of that, sit down and have a conversation with a 4-year-old and try to explain money. You'll find out very quickly that the 4-year-old has very good questions that you can't answer. You can watch parents go through this. It's hilarious. Mommy, where does money come from? The banks make it. How do they make it? Well, they print it. Why can't we have more then? Go clean your room. You're about 4 questions from go clean your room in a money conversation because adults don't really understand money. Even though it's a cultural artifact that has existed in our species for hundreds of thousands of years, we don't really understand how it works. Oh, hello there. I didn't see you guys come in. Welcome to Bitcoin Talk Show. I was just reading a little bit of Andreas Antonopoulos' The Internet of Money, Volume 1. Andreas was talking about primates and money, saying that monkeys and crows and even dolphins all use money to trade things. And the minute they start using money, they start robbing each other. They start selling sexual favors. They become incredibly human incredibly quickly. So maybe money is what makes humans a superior species. Maybe money is what's making us challenge the space and challenge the planet and everything. This desire for this thing that can buy anything, the desire for the thing that buys anything. As they said in the movie Heist, Danny DeVito declared, it's something that everyone wants. That's why they call it money. Oh, well. But we'll go ahead and start Bitcoin Talk Show now. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and a share down below. Today is Sunday, August 12th, 2018. My name is Thomas Hunt, and here's what's happening today in Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin was up 1.38% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 6,324, a high of 6,485, and a low of 6,087. That's $1 for 15,819 Satoshis, just on the other side of the 15,000 Satoshi barrier. Let's give this sucker a spin. Big money, big money. We're checking out the top 10 altcoins by volume from WorldCoin Index. Ethereum up 1.25%, Bitcoin Cash up 1.5%, EOS up 2.25%, Ethereum Classic even, Litecoin up 3.5%, Ripple up 1%, Dash up 1.25%, Qtum up 0.25%, and Tron rounding out the top 10 up 2%. It's not a very big bump, but everything is up today. Checking out the top 5 dApps on dApp Radar. IDEX down to 1,200 users. Fork Delta down to 1,100 users. Falling in third place to FOMO 3D, 600 users. Zephyr, 500 users. And rounding out the top 5, POWH 3D with 400 users. These are the top 5 distributed applications, and it looks like they're still using less than 5,000 users for the entire top 5. We see 2 exchanges, 2 gambling websites, and 1 site called High Risk. Checking out the top 10 blockchains by activity. It seems like it's pretty much the same every day. Not sure how long we're going to keep doing this, but it's EOS, BitShares, and Steem, all created by the same developer who seems to really motivate and like blockchain activity. Ethereum, still overloaded, still at more than 100 blockchain capacity with 77,000 unconfirmed Ethereum transactions. Bitcoin previously did have a full mempool, then was about down to 50%, has fallen to 35% activity. This is the top 5 blockchains by activity. As always, you can support the World Crypto Network by donating Bitcoins or crazy altcoins to the QR code on your screen right now. We also have a patreon.com campaign at patreon.com/WCN, where 31 patrons are donating $234 a month to support this show. You could subscribe with your credit card for as little as $2 a month. That's like $24 a year to support this show. You could also support this show at patreon.com/madbitcoins, where 80 patrons are donating $483 a month to support this show. We've also got our Tallycoin campaign, where we've raised $186.88. That's 0.02% towards our goal of $1 million, which also keeps getting further away, originally starting at 125 Bitcoins, now at 158. We've got yesterday's comments for you on Bitcoin Talk Show. Yesterday's comments. And here they are from Saturday morning Bitcoin Talk Show. We got about 1,000 views thanks to your 121 likes. Once again, the more you like a show on YouTube, the more YouTube promotes the show, the more viewers it gets, the more subscribers it gets, the more comments and chat and everything that it gets. Your likes have the power. So be sure to give us a like down below. And let's check out yesterday's comments. Let's see. Crypto Noob says this whole exposition is fantastic. And we might play you a little cut of that in a second here. Let's Fix It says, great content, T. Keep it up. Rad Vladdy disagrees with me. He says, Apple influences Facebook to take down Alex Jones, which again, they said in the article. This evidence for independence. Classic doublespeak. Listen to the meaning of your words. This means they didn't take them down due to rules violation. Classic ends justify the means. Sad. And it's never a great idea to quote Donald Trump tweets in your replies saying sad at the end. Yes, it does make you look like a child, like the child president. But yeah, I still disagree with Rad Vladdy. I read the article. It sounds like Zuckerberg follows Apple because he sees them as a peer and he sees them as having a high quality service, choices that Apple has made that Facebook and Google haven't. Gmail reads all of your mail. Apple encrypts all of your mail, doesn't let them read it. Facebook scans all of your information, creates a perfect profile for advertisers. Apple doesn't. I read the article and it sounded like Zuckerberg was inspired by Apple's call for privacy and Apple's power and language, the things that Apple uses, and that Zuckerberg followed them and tried to do what Apple was doing. Again, I just read the article and I trust what the people are saying because they've been interviewed. But if you think the entire world's a conspiracy and everything is being controlled just because companies ban someone who's clearly bannable altogether, and then Twitter and Apple doesn't even ban them. So yeah, I don't know about that one, but I respect Rad Vladdy's right to disagree with me. And thank you so much for the comment. Decibel 825, perhaps conspiratorially, says, those Bitmain profit numbers are very nice round numbers there. Dean Doe is looking for the phone number, which is 518-600-1949, but we're not taking calls yet. We're going to take calls just a little later. I've also put the phone number on the title of this show. And B. Elduayan has a nice comment. He says, a very good read from today's choice. That is what I thought. Such a heavy coat in Las Vegas. He saw the Photoshop. He said, maybe in winter, at night in the desert, the jacket will come in handy. But so will the Mad Bitcoin's goggles in dust storms. And he says, great show. I enjoyed it yet again. Thanks for sharing. And thanks so much, B. Elduayan, for the cool comment. And you mentioned the dust storm. Some people were talking about this in the chat. There was a massive storm in Las Vegas last night. We didn't get much of it where we are. We seem to be in a strange weather zone where most of the weather goes by us, but we could see it. and we went out on the back porch for a little while and watched the lightning. And the wind was blowing incredibly hard. We had to bring in a bunch of stuff from the backyard so it wouldn't be blown away. There's leaves everywhere now. It's a huge mess, all that kind of thing. But yeah, we do seem to get some exciting weather here in Vegas. I thought it would just be a desert and it would cook me and it would be super hot all the time. But no, we get not, I wouldn't call them tropical storms, but we get rain when it's hot. We get thunderstorms pretty often. And it also seems like we're just in the middle of something here in the valley where the weather blows presumably from Los Angeles and the coast. Then it blows over to here and then it keeps going to Arizona or whatever. But yeah, much more weather than I thought. Vegas is an interesting place weather-wise, and I'm surprised. So thanks so much for your comments. Remember, after the show is finished, after the show is rendered, Google opens up the comment section. So I appreciate everyone in the chat, but if you want to have a different kind of discussion and leave a comment behind on the video, that would also be great because YouTube judges videos based upon comments and likes. There's a question in the chat: how far am I from the Strip? Well, pretty much all of Las Vegas is a giant suburb, so we're about 30 minutes from the Strip. So it's kind of like living in a town next door to a big famous tourist town. I go to the store and everything's normal and everything's fine. But if I drive 30 minutes, I could see a drunken bachelor party or a drunken bachelorette party or a birthday party like that, right? They are everywhere. But yes, people love Las Vegas. They love to travel here. It's a pretty fun place. How crypto reacted to this week's SEC Bitcoin ETF delay. And I wish I had like a screaming thing from Sam Kinison here. He'd just be like, ah, ah. That's how Bitcoin reacted. Yeah, we didn't react very well. The news, it was an expected result at an unexpected time. Once again, nobody knows anything. Nobody knows anything. Twitter yawns as market yells. Okay. Twitter, Whale Panda, Bitcoin ETF decision delayed as expected. Okay. Perhaps unsurprisingly, Twitter's crypto ecosystem called for calm. For example, OKCoin CEO Star Z argued that people selling in the aftermath were overreacting. We saw the same thing from Dan Moorhead from Pantera Capital, a famous investor in this space whose firm returned a 10,000% return over the last 5 years. Pretty impressive. Deus Ex Machina wonders, I wonder if the people who panic sold even know what an ETF is. And yes, it was to be expected. The SEC had no reason to make a decision until the last possible date, which seems to be September 30th, although I'm not clear on which one it is. Some of the ETFs may be even pushed back until February of next year. Bitcoin is a beautiful mess. From Seeking Alpha, the trading website. Summary: from manipulated exchanges, schemes, fraud, and negative press, Bitcoin is now being called a total disaster. Here are a bunch of reasons why you shouldn't invest in Bitcoin. Despite all this, I'm investing. Bitcoin price analysis. Is Bitcoin tethered to USDT? It's supposed to be linked. I don't know. It's interesting to note that today's massive green candle coincided with a $50 million in USDT being transferred to Bitfinex on Saturday. Meanwhile, others believe that the prolonged bear market is rooting out weak hands as those who bought at higher prices become hopeless and sell on every Bitcoin pop. There's been plenty of talk about 6,000, 5,500, 4,300, and even $3,000 Bitcoin bottoms. And Bitcoin is drawn mightily close to all of these projections as bears continue to batter Bitcoin. Looking ahead, Bitcoin may return to its pre-tether spike range of $6,100 to $6,400 and trade indecisively before making a move. The current technical setup suggests a move below $6,000, where Bitcoin may test the $5,750 support. A move to $6,700 would place Bitcoin above the descending trend line and right on the 50-day moving average. As mentioned last week, the pattern of rejection at the overhead moving averages on the 4-hour chart continues. Today, Bitcoin briefly popped above the 20-day moving average, but quickly pulled back, and now trades between the 20-day moving average on the 4-hour chart and is pinned between the 5 and 10-day moving averages on the hourly chart. As expected, the volume evaporated and the short-term moving averages have turned bearish on the 1-hour chart. The RSI and stochastic lines have flatlined in oversold territory while continued sideways trading between $6,000 and $6,300 could ensue over the short term. One chart explains why you should buy Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies from Forbes. Let's go right to the chart. Here it is, correlations between Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies to other various assets. And as you can't really see, the chart's too small, you can see here that Bitcoin is uncorrelated, that it has very little in common with these other assets. If we look right here, the US dollar index, it's all the way over here. It has a, I'm going to guess, 2% correlation to Bitcoin. This is a guess based upon reading the chart. We can look at the gold market all the way over here. It has a, I don't know, -8 correlation to Bitcoin. Just in general here, what I think the author is trying to say is that somebody's quoting Sam Kinison in the chat. I was like, what's he talking about? And then I was like, oh yeah, Sam Kinison. Oh, don't get me started. I love Sam Kinison. But yeah, this chart shows that Bitcoin's uncorrelated. It's a brand new asset class. It's different than anything else. And that's why you should buy it, according to Forbes, just to hedge. Crypto investors dream of trillion-dollar market cap amidst Bitcoin ETF. And everyone is dreaming of the ETF. There's a blueprint for a trillion-dollar market cap, but its basis doesn't lie in historic events. It lies in future implications. And once again, the matter of the fact is, an ETF approval on its own is like red cloth for a bull. Excuse the pun, but why? Because an ETF approval automatically means that the price will skyrocket. It sounds overly simplistic, but with the ETF having to buy a large amount of Bitcoin, with people becoming interested in the Bitcoin ETF, and with competitors starting their own Bitcoin ETFs to compete with a Bitcoin ETF, we would see a lot of buying and a lot of holding and not a lot of selling. So it would change the Bitcoin market. Audit giant Intuit gains patent for Bitcoin transactions over text messages. And I'm not sure how they can do this because we had Bitcoins over text messages back in 2013 and 2014. So that seems like prior art. That seems like a perfectly valid claim to invalidate this patent. Patents on Bitcoin and blockchain are the new nightmare for Bitcoin, just as they were a nightmare for software patents. Nonsense like Amazon receiving a patent for buy now with one click, eBay receiving shopping cart patents, other things like this are a complete disaster for the software industry and should be shouted down from blockchain, Bitcoin, and even software in general. The patent allows Intuit to send Bitcoin over a text message and, of course, to create a whole secondary custodian network to hold your Bitcoin. So once again, they're recreating what Bitcoin does, thinking they can handle it better on their own internal databases instead of just trusting Bitcoin. That's right, they're wasting time. As the article said, crypto patents are on the rise. If you can't beat them, patent them, fight them in court. MasterCard last month won a patent described as a method to store both cash and cryptocurrencies in one account. Again, controlled by them. Again, they hold the keys. Again, it's another totally hackable honeypot they've set up to embarrass themselves. The patent, which was filed in June of 2016, failed to provide further details. The senior VP for communications at MasterCard explained the patents were to protect the company's intellectual property, even if the systems are not implemented in the future. So the patents are to protect Bitcoin and blockchain, which were not invented by MasterCard. This is why people don't like big businesses. Earlier this year, the Bitcoin Patent Report published a list of the top 10 bullshit companies that had filed the majority of bullshit Bitcoin patents. Bank of America, shock, secured first place with 45 bullshit patents filed in the last 5 years. Alibaba and IBM were fourth and fifth on the list with 36 and 34 bullshit patents filed by each company. MasterCard filed 21 bullshit patents, dropping it to the eighth position. Considering the number of bullshit patents won by MasterCard this year, it won't be surprised if it secures a position in the top five bullshit companies in 2019. Bitmain sells Bitcoin, buys Bitcoin Cash, now holding 5% of circulation. As Bitmain prepares to go public, what will the repercussions of this bizarre preference be? And we've got more of this from Twitter. Samson Mao says, according to the Bitmain pre IPO investor deck, they sold most of their Bitcoin for Bcash. At $900 a Bcash, they've bled $500 million in the last 3 months. If Bitcoin core developers didn't disclose the Bcash vulnerability, it would have wiped $1 billion off of their balance sheets. Samson goes in again saying, technically, Bitmain is lagging behind all other crypto mining companies. They're still on 16 nanometer chips when almost everyone else has the next generation chips. GMO, Avalon, eBang, etc. are all ahead. Remember that the S9 was released in 2016. They're still selling it. By investing in the Bitmain IPO, you're giving them money to act as support for BCH. Why the sudden push for IPO? Since they can't support the price anymore, and they've realized they've made a huge mistake. Bitmain might go down in history as the largest bag holder of Bcash, and they are locked in. If they try to sell their bags, they will crush the price of Bcash. Just wrecked. Wrecked. And Samson Mao again says Bcash, with merely 7% of Bitcoin's hash rate, can be 51% attacked by almost any pool now. Fees are higher than Bitcoin Core, the altcoin, and Doge. And it has a vulnerability that would have split it into two chains had a core developer not saved them from their own stupidity. Reliable? Just lol. And on this comes on the heels of Roger Ver stealing a tweet from A. Pompiano and changing Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash. This is low, Roger. Everyone can see this. I'm not sure why you don't understand this, but if you steal someone else's tweet and change Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash, we're all going to know about it. 288 people retweeted this. There's even people out there that probably support Bitcoin Cash who are going full facepalm over this, Roger. Why are you stealing people's tweets? Why don't you just give up and go away? And speaking of people who won't go away, CZ, the owner of the Binance exchange, which has taken off in the last year, says, we don't list shit coins, even if they pay 400 or 4,000 BTC. Ethereum, Neo, Ripple, EOS, Ripple, Stellar, I don't know, they're different names, Litecoin, and more listed with no fee. Well, shocking, like they would pay you. Question is not how much does Binance charge to list, but is my coin good enough? That's hilarious. It's not the fee, it's your project. Oh, these are good jokes. These are good stand up. I should use these. Focus on your project. And he says also here that this all is in response to an email that Chris Franco said that he received from Binance saying that he had to pay 400 Bitcoin to get his coin Expanse listed on the Binance exchange. CZ from Binance says, also, the Franco email showed is a spoofed spam email, not from Binance. Binance never quotes fees in email and not in BTC. Project owners should be able to spot email spoofing, and those who shouldn't issue a coin. The communication process / method tells a lot about a coin. Pretty bold claims from CZ there. And here's the response from Christopher Franco. I didn't get spoofed. He is just lying. Here's Binance's own website confirming that OYYQ is a real email. Here's Binance's Twitter confirming it's a real email. Every exchange quotes over email. Binance isn't that different. And here we can see right here, Binance starts its community coin per month. And there's the email that he received an email from, oyyyq@binance.com. He's also got another quote to oyyyq@binance.com. I do wish he'd just show us the email, show us the headers, show us everything, and then we'd know. But as Christopher Franco says, if you are honest in crypto, you will face an uphill battle. Those willing to do anything for the money will do anything to try and hurt you in the process. If the money is easy and fast, best believe there are sharks like CZ willing to try and take it from you. And I've definitely found that in crypto. You meet a lot of nice people and you meet a lot of fake nice people. You meet a lot of people who want to help you on your project, and you meet a lot of people who want to help steal your project and take it for their own. So I would be very careful out there. Just in case you're wondering, between the two, CZ, the guy that opened a brand new exchange, had incredible volume. Incredible, like maybe it's not real, and is all over the place, all over, decentralized exchange, centralized exchange, all this stuff. He has so much more to lose in this than Franco. Franco is a longtime developer. He created Franco Coin way back in the day. I think we interviewed him back in 2013, 2014. He's been in this space a long time. I definitely trust Franco over the CZ Binance guy. It reminds me of when Big Vern used to tweet from Cripsy, and everyone would be like, "Oh, Cripsy's good. They're in Florida. Cripsy's a good exchange. Big Vern's a good idea. He's a good guy. He'll take care of you." And now Cripsy is completely gone, wiped from the pages of existence. No one even remembers Cripsy. I wonder if the same will be true about Binance next year. Will you be replaced by a robot? Asked Wired magazine, showing pictures of robots building things. And then we have right here, these works of arts were created by a robot. That's right, even painters are in real trouble as other painters are teaching the robots how to paint. Once the robots know how to paint, why do we need human painters anymore? I thought this is a great example of a job like art that most people think is not going to be computerized, not going to be roboticized, but it will be. Alex Bosworth says Bitcoin's design is a bet that we will need a decentralized global system for 1 million plus payments every day, so that enough is paid in fees to make double spends costly. Still a big and far off goal. Lightning's bet is that millions aren't even enough. Enough. Let's support billions and trillions of payments. Once again, Bitcoin has its eye on the future, it's planning ahead, and it's going to win. Andy Hoffman says, enough already. I'm officially calling purposeful manipulation. How on earth can the price fall this much on this little volume? And who the F is attacking the price at 8 p.m. on an August Saturday night in New York, 1 a.m. in London, and 7 a.m. in Tokyo? It was a big surprise to see Bitcoin pop out to $6,400, and it was just as big a surprise to see it pop right back to 6,200 or even 6,100 right now. Are we being manipulated? Maybe. It's a very small market. A large whale could come in and sell and buy and could completely mess up all these charts they spend all their time making. One whale could ruin your chart. What good is your chart then? John McAfee from his official McAfee Twitter account. And again, I'm just reading this because I'm fascinated by Mr. McAfee. He chose to discuss this and to expose this. And I just think it adds into the legend of John McAfee and just what a incredibly fascinating person he is. And certainly mean him no disrespect by reading his tweet. I just found it fascinating. As he said, realized in the cold light of day that I had omitted a great deal of transgressions that many might consider notable. In the interest of completeness, here goes. And let's see. Come on, Twitter, make it bigger. Oh, yeah, that worked. And it goes away. Um, Here we go. From John McAfee. Allegations that I slept with underage girls. Absolutely false, even by American standards. Young, yes, but they were all over the age of 18. Admittedly, a few were over the age of 24, even in my late 60s. Young women have kept my heart young. Allegations that I kept harems of young women. True by most definitions of harem. I lived once, fairly recently, with 7 women simultaneously on one property. I can hardly recommend this and would strongly advise against it if any of my male followers are considering it. Allegations that I engaged in collective, simultaneous, deprived sex acts with these young women. Absolutely true. Allegations that my wife of 6.5 years is a prostitute for 10 years and was working as such when I first met her after being released from a Guatemalan prison in 2012. True. Wow. Which brings me to allegations of multiple incarcerations in multiple countries for a litany of transgressions. Absolutely true. Allegations of rape, absolutely false. I can't really read the rest. It says allegations of being one of the largest illegal drug manufacturers in Central America, absurdly false. What would be the life expectancy of a gringo if he set up a drug operation in the very heart of Sinaloa cartel territory? Get real. And I think that's it. So, very interesting post from Mr. John McAfee. Just always fascinated to learn more about that guy. The $100 million man who invented antivirus and then went on a trip all over the world and got in quite a lot of trouble. A very interesting gentleman, ran for president in the last campaign. And we have from the Oakland Athletics, perhaps the throw of the year. Look at that cannon shot all the way from the warning track to first base. It's not clear to me that he got the out, but what a great throw. And of course, go A's. Go A's. And I have some stuff to read for you, but also, let's see, I want to go to Bitcoin Talk Show. We're going to play you that clip from yesterday's show that was recommended by the audience member. Remember, you can always create a timestamp to anything that we talk about here on Bitcoin Talk Show just by creating the timestamp in the comments, saying something like 43:25, and then it will link right to 43:25, and we can see what was going on there. So we're going to go ahead and check this out now on Bitcoin Talk Show. This is what we talked about yesterday. These banks start getting into Bitcoin, right? And they start buying Bitcoin. One idea that's postulated is that the banks could print more money and use that money to buy Bitcoin because that's how they do everything, right? That's how the government works. That's how the banks work. They print money out of nothing. Then they use it to buy something really big like 100 B-2 bombers or a road or a new airport, something like that, disaster relief. So yes, they could print $100 million and buy $100 million worth of Bitcoin. But the problem is when they try that again next year or next month even, and they print another $100 million and they try to buy $100 million in Bitcoin, they're going to get substantially less Bitcoin. Every time they do this, they're going to print more money and they're going to get less Bitcoin. So it could be a disaster for them. Bitcoin can just take in all the world's value, all the world's wealth. They can keep printing money and they can keep buying less and less Bitcoin. So I'm pretty sure that's where we're going. I'm pretty sure, regardless of all of these options and all of these choices and all of these things that everyone thinks is so important and all this blockchain, not Bitcoin, and all this nonsense, I'm pretty sure where we're going is that Bitcoin is the single reserve currency of the world. All of these other people are going to make their own copy of Bitcoin and they're going to try to do it alone. And it's not going to work, right? Some of them will work, some of them won't work, some of them will flop right away, some will take 3 to 5 years to die. Facebook's a huge company. If they do a coin, it's going to take 3 to 5 years for them to learn their lesson that they should have just used Bitcoin and that there's something great about having a single store of value uncontrolled by governments or corporations. Essentially, we can all trust Bitcoin because no one can control it. And nothing else in the world is like that. So I think that one by one, the central banks, one by one, the banks, one by one, the corporations will fall to Bitcoin. They can't trust each other. They all would betray each other for money. They know this. They want the money. So when one or two of them betray each other and go to Bitcoin, the rest will follow like a herd. And everyone in the crowd will say, "Oh, it's a conspiracy. They all did it together." A lot of these conspiracies is one person goes and they take a risk, and then the next person goes, and the next person goes, and then they all go. So get ready for it. I think it's inevitable. I don't think it matters what these people do. I think there's distractions and there's slowdowns. But if we look on a long enough timeline, the future is all Bitcoin. It just can't be stopped. The way it was produced and designed by an anonymous individual or team puts it in a stronger position than any of the other coins. None of them can ever have as good a launch as Bitcoin. And even if they did, it would be mainly because they're copying exactly everything that Bitcoin does. And that would just be an equal launch, not a better launch. Keeping with the chat, Max feels better. Really interesting clip from yesterday's Bitcoin talk show. Just checking out what was recommended to us yesterday, and a reminder that the World Crypto Network makes daily shows about Bitcoin. On Friday, we did 4 live shows. We've been making videos since 2014 about Bitcoin, but we need your help. We need 100,000 subscribers to activate YouTube's subscription program. Please RT, retweet, and share. And checking it out right now, when we launched this campaign, we had 60,809 subscribers. And now, as we look at the channel, we have, it doesn't say. Good job, YouTube. Oh, there it is. 60,808 subscribers. So we lost one. 35 people retweeted it, but no one subscribed. So be sure to subscribe here on the World Crypto Network. We are trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. We hate to have to just give up and start doing altcoin videos and start doing clickbait titles like the top 5 altcoins or invest in this new Bitcoin and make $1 million. But again, that's what people, that's what people are into, I guess. So I don't know. But we're going to go ahead and open it up for calls here on Bitcoin Talk Show. We've got the call thing is unmuted. You can call us now on Skype, World Crypto Network, all one word, or you can call us on the phone at 518 600 1949. 1949 is a big year, the end of World War II. It was pretty much over by then. Interesting stuff. Actually, I think it was well over by then, but there was a lot of cool stuff going on in 1949. And it kind of sounds like it has a nice ring to it, right? 1949. I looked at some other ones. I could have had 1944. That would have been cool. But so it goes. So it goes. But I do have a plan in case there are no calls. Here it is right here. I'm going, yeah, 45 was the end of the word. 49, I don't know. There's some cool events in 49, but they weren't war events. So here it is from Frack, the zine back in the day, Volume 1, Issue 7, File 3 of 10. The following was written shortly after my arrest. The Conscience of a Hacker, also known as the Hacker Manifesto, by The Mentor, written on January 8th, 1986. Another one got caught today. It's all over the papers. Teenager arrested in computer crime scandal. Hacker arrested after bank tampering. Damn kids, they're all alike. But did you, in your 3-piece psychology and 1950s techno brain, ever take a look behind the eyes of a hacker? Did you ever wonder what made him tick, what forces shaped him, and what may have molded him? I am a hacker. Enter my world. Mine is a world that begins with school. I'm smarter than most of the other kids. This crap they teach us bores me. Damn underachiever. They're all alike. I'm in junior high or high school. I've listened to teachers explain for the 15th time how to reduce a fraction. I understand it. No, Mrs. Smith, I didn't show my work. I did it in my head. Damn kid. Probably copied it. They're all alike. I made a discovery today. I found a computer. Wait a second. This is cool. It does what I want it to do. If it makes a mistake, it's because I screwed it up, not because it doesn't like me, or feels threatened by me, or thinks I'm a smartass, or doesn't like teaching and shouldn't be there. Damn kid. All he does is play games. They're all alike. And then it happened. A door opened to a world, rushing through the phone line like heroin through an addict's veins. An electronic pulse is sent out. A refuge from the day to day incompetencies is sought. A board is found. He means a BBS. This is it. This is where I belong. I know everyone here, even if I've never met them, never talked to them, may never hear from them again. I know you all. Damn kid, tying up the phone line again. They're all alike. You bet your ass we're all alike. We've been spoon fed baby food at school when we hungered for steak. The bits of meat that you did let slip through were pre chewed and tasteless. We've been dominated by sadists or ignored by the apathetic. The few that had something to teach us found us willing pupils. But those were like drops of water in the desert. This is our world now, the world of the electron and the switch, the beauty of the bod. We make use of a service already existing without paying for what could be dirt cheap if it wasn't run by profiteering gluttons. And you call us criminals. We explore, and you call us criminals. We seek after knowledge, and you call us criminals. We exist without skin color, without nationality, without religious bias, and you call us criminals. You build atomic bombs. You wage wars. You murder, cheat, and lie to us and try to make us believe it's all for our own good. Yet we're the criminals. Yes, I am a criminal. My crime is that of curiosity. My crime is that of judging people by what they say and think, not what they look like. My crime is that of outsmarting you, something that you will never forgive me for. I am a hacker, and this is my manifesto. You may stop this individual, but you can't stop us all. After all, we're all alike. The Mentor, 1986, The Hacker Manifesto. Very cool stuff. Not sure if you guys have heard it before. It's a classic in the old underground cypherpunk internet based world. Really took off, went big time. Everyone referred to it. Of course, it was mentioned in the movie Hackers, 1995, about 9 years after this was written. Interesting stuff. But looks like they're having a big fight in the chat. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with me. So I'll let that keep going. It doesn't matter to me. And we had a couple other big things to read, but I was hoping not to go back to back to back on them. I was hoping to get some phone calls here on Bitcoin Talk Show. So go ahead and give us a call now on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word, or on the phone at 518 600 1949. We're going to go through the chat, then maybe we'll read some more, and we might end the show early at 10 o'clock today, giving us just the hour rather than 2 hours on the weekend. It's funny, I thought at least last couple of weeks, we've been getting more phone calls on the weekend as people are at home and they don't have to work and all those kind of things. And now they're all calling at the same time. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
It's good old-fashioned Henry calling back from Montana.
All right, Henry, how's it going in Montana today? Let's see. Okay,
Just moseying around this morning. Didn't have to work this weekend, and kind of glad this time because it's fucking hot as balls out here. Seems like the world's burning down. Can't see like a mile in front of you. It's so smoky. Yeah.
You guys have the smoke from California out there as well?
Yeah, pretty much every single state's smoke, as well as all the fires we have here, funnel right to where we're at. At least on the TV, that's what the weatherman shows us, is that all the smoke from like Idaho and Oregon and all of that comes funneling up towards us.
All right, I'm gonna have to close that other window. People are calling all at the same time. But that's
First.
You were. Well, that sounds very hot up there, Henry. I know it's hot here, but in Vegas we mainly just stay inside with the air conditioning. It's not so bad. But yeah, there's a lot of smoke here from the fire as well. So what's going on for you in Bitcoin up there? Any reports? Convince anybody?
Yeah, I got one more person, one more of my pals to open up a wallet and just hold some Bitcoin. It's mainly just saying, hey, hold this Bitcoin. Um, me just giving them like $20, but it's okay. It's definitely a little strugglesome watching Bitcoin crash like it is right now. I have faith in it. I personally am just like, cool, Bitcoin's cheaper. I'm gonna double down and fucking buy a bunch more cheap Bitcoin. But everyone else that I've given Bitcoin to is kind of freaking out.
Yeah, it's funny. Even when you only have $20 in something, that $20 gives you a skin in the game, right? They have to do better or they're gonna lose it. So
Yep.
yeah, it's rough when the price is going down, but again, most people that are dollar cost averaging are happy for this. They're like, yeah, I'm getting in some low buys. It's averaging out my higher buys, so it works out.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I hope something with the ETFs goes our way this fall or whenever they decide to do them again. I heard they got moved back, so
Yeah, we're looking at September 30th, and if not, then they're gonna push it back till February. So we'll just have to see. But I agree. If we can get one of those in, it opens up institutions and even normal people investing through their stock market accounts. It could really bring us a lot more buyers to Bitcoin and a lot less sellers. So I think it'll be a
I
pretty
def
good thing.
I definitely think that things once the bigger corporations start to figure out that Bitcoin has some pretty good easy business tool capabilities, that's gonna go real quick. Everyone's gonna start switching over pretty quickly. And
Also had Goldman Sachs and the ICE exchange coming on with NYSE. More and more CBOE, more and more of the big players are already into Bitcoin. So it's only a matter of time before everyone else is the way it feels to me.
yeah, that's I feel like we're on the edge, we're on the cusp of everything just about to switch over, because at least that's how I view it's going to go, as kind of a tidal wave effect of once people, one guy switches over and they realize that it's working, everyone's just going to start switching over.
I agree with that. And it was also, I remember when it would go from 600 to 500, and everyone would freak out. And now we go from 6,000 to 5,000, and everyone freaks out. But if I told you you could buy Bitcoin for $600, I mean, you would take it, right? I get the same kind of feeling that I know it's hard to go into the future, and everyone has bills and they have all kinds of issues. But if we look at this 6 months from now, if we look at this from a year from now, and Bitcoin is like they're saying, maybe it's 50K, maybe it's 100K. Well, I think you'd take my $6,000 Bitcoin any day, right? I mean, it would be the simplest thing for you to buy that. It's just hard because we're here now, and 6,000's a lot, and it sucks to lose $1,000 and all these kind of things. But still, I mean, a year ago we were at 600. A year and a half ago we were at 600. All these things. So
Oh yeah, I remember when I first looked at Bitcoin and it was only a few $100s, and I look back at myself and just go, man, if I only would have bought it back then.
yeah, everybody has that feeling, and
That's why
go
that's
ahead.
what keeps me from just going, I know it'll get better, and the fact that it's just, plunging down only means that I can just buy it at a cheaper rate, and I know it's just going to go up.
Well, I sure hope so. I mean, something about this $6,005 range, at least lately, has always freaked me out, because you always get that feeling where it's like, oh, 6,000, I still have some profit. 5,000, I still have some profit. Uh-oh, it went to 2,000. Uh-oh, it went to $500, and it's like, well, I'm back where I started from. And you never know. No one knows which way this market goes. Everybody's here looking for a simple, easy solution to get rich quick. Everybody's here looking for a simple, easy solution to read the charts from the past and then to believe that those charts from the past will tell you the future. And everybody is, drinking snake oil. They're all, talking to false gurus, and they're all feeling calm and confident because their guru told them something. but when it doesn't happen, they never forget to question or get rid of the guru. So it's a tough space.
Yeah, but I then again, I feel like with Bitcoin, difference between Bitcoin and a lot of other just kind of phony stocks or currencies is that they didn't have a real use. Bitcoin is showing that it has legitimately good, valuable uses that kind of show infrastructurally growing uses that I just don't see kind of going away. I see it being the foundation for how we move into business transactions in the next 20, 30 years. And, we'll all look at it as just like, oh, yeah, Bitcoin, that's normal, even though here we are now with it still being new.
Yeah, I feel the same way about other things like cell phones and even just people carrying around their music and listening to headphones all the time. There was a time when I was one of the few people doing that, and we had our Discman and all, carrying around 2 or 3 CDs with you was all the music you had. And when we got that MP3, it was amazing. I knew right away I wasn't going to have to carry around CDs anymore. And now you can carry 20 or 30 or 100 albums with you on your little phone, and you could even download new ones. And it just seems totally normal to everybody. But if I went back to 1997 and showed myself that when I was doing command line MP3s and I was burning CDs at $5 a CD, all these kind of things, you just wouldn't believe it. Even today, I've got. You can buy a backup hard drive on Amazon for $150 that has 8 terabytes, right? Like not gigabytes, but like terabytes. It's amazing. I watched this little intro screen for Mega Man X yesterday on the Super Nintendo Classic. It's pretty fun, and they were showing the kind of the boot up screen for Mega Man's internal things, and it said something like 8,000 terabytes. And I was like, when they wrote this, a terabyte was completely impossible, right? When they wrote this, they were, using megabytes and they were using kilobytes, right, of RAM to write their code and to write these video games. And they were like, yeah, someday Mega Man the robot will have 8,000 terabytes. And we're not far off. Like we've reached terabyte. Servers for professionals have petabytes, which is 1,000 terabytes. So yeah, it's an amazing thing, and we keep going faster to get there. And I just think Bitcoin's going to be a part of that future.
Well, yeah, I agree. And it's definitely not, in my opinion, it may have some times where it'll get tested and, people will have it really kind of flex either the right way or the wrong way. But I know at the end of the day, Bitcoin, or at least something coming from Bitcoin, is going to advance the business world in the future. This is the new, way we do business, and I'm ready to accept it. I like good old fashioned hand money and physical items, but we're moving into the digital world, and Bitcoin's definitely the closest thing to kind of a set physical value to me.
I definitely think so, and I think we're getting closer all the time. Right now, it's tough because the price is going down and people are bummed, but we just got to get through this. It looks like we have some other callers coming in, so thanks so much, Henry, for your call.
Yeah, no problem. I'll let the line up. I hope
Yeah, and
you
give
guys
us a call anytime, and good luck out there in Montana. That sounds great, man.
have. I'll keep spreading the word, man.
All right. Talk to you again
See you,
soon.
man.
Bye-bye. And I'm going to go ahead and reopen the phone lines. Let me reopen that browser window. Give me half a second. No idea how to manage this Slack and phone lines at the same time. So go ahead and give us a call on the phone line right now. Maybe we'll alternate, huh? We'll alternate calls. So I quit Skype for a second, so it's not going to ring. And now, if you can give us a phone call on 518-600-1949. And that would be great to give us a call right now. I've had 2 or 3 people calling me. For some reason, it rings through to all my other devices. I've got to figure out how to turn that off. About 5 different things ringing at me when that happens. But you can go ahead and give us a call now. We have 170 live viewers. Thanks to your thumbs up and share. And we were just going back over the chat, talking about the things we've been talking about. They think that the IPO for Bitmain might be a joke. It might wreck Wall Street. This could be one of those things where you think Bitmain was such a great company, but they were a great company 2 or 3 years ago. Here we go. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, my name is Amanda, and I'm calling from California.
All right, Amanda, what's on your mind about Bitcoin today?
What's a Bitcoin?
What's a Bitcoin? Bitcoin is this
Yes.
new internet money. It's
Is it
not
something
owned by
that
any.
people use?
Huh?
Is it something that people use?
People don't use it that much. Right now, I'd say it's mainly used for speculation. So people buy it when they think it's cheap and they sell it when they think it's expensive. It can be used on your phone. You can send it from person to person with a QR code. It's kind of like a barcode. You scan it. But you can also send it across the internet like email. So you can send it to anyone. It's pretty neat. It's not owned by any government or corporation. Basically, if you want to give it a try, you could go to a website like coinbase.com, or you could install this application on your phone called Cash App. And if you link these Coinbase or Cash App to your bank account, you could buy a little bit of Bitcoin, even like $20 worth, and you could just give it a try. So thanks so much for the call, Amanda. There's a lot to learn about Bitcoin. Uh, Not sure. I mean, maybe you're prank calling or something, but still, people need to start somewhere. And it's perfectly okay to have never heard of Bitcoin. It's perfectly okay to be confused and to think this is a fraud or anything else. I would just say you need to do your own research. You need to read more about it. And personally, as a computer person, I'm very excited about Bitcoin. I think it's going to be great. Maybe you're not a computer person, and that's also totally fine. You can still get into Bitcoin. You can buy as little as $20 worth. You can buy like a 0.001 or something like that. But I definitely suggest that everyone give it a try. And thanks so much, Amanda, for your call. Amanda. There it is. We'll just put you here in California. But you can go ahead and give us a call now. We're going to keep the phone lines open. You can call us on 518 600 1949. So, and yeah, I don't know if people are if that was a serious call or not, but I respect people that don't know about Bitcoin and that want to ask questions. It's totally fine to ask questions. There's a lot of questions. We had some good questions yesterday. They weren't the most advanced questions, but that's what we need. If you're confused about Bitcoin, even just how you send it, how you hold it in a wallet, give us a call and we'll give it a try to explain it to you.
There's a lot of questions. We had some good questions yesterday.
Oh, gotta mute your speaker. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Mustafa calling
Hey,
from Lafayette, Indiana.
Lafayette. Hard to spell, French word.
Yeah.
All right. How's it going, Mustafa?
Lafayette.
Oh, I think I got it. I don't think you've moved very far from where you were previously. We have another Mustafa on the map.
Yeah, I'm still. I just started. Just started working this morning. I was off yesterday.
Right on.
Yeah, but actually, I was calling because I've been trying to figure out or doing. I'm just doing research. I haven't done any action yet. Just researching on how I can set up my own Lightning node. And I was wondering if you can give me any advice or point me in the right direction. Maybe a video or something about how to get a Lightning node set up.
Right now, I know that there's that company, Bitseed, that runs the Bitcoin nodes, and you can buy one of those, and it's in a box, and you just plug it in. That's my goal for a Lightning node, but I think that's for just a Bitcoin node. I don't know how different a Lightning node is from a Bitcoin node. Right now, I would just say, like, kind of as your basis of your place to run it on, you're going to need either like a Raspberry Pi and a hard drive. I've seen a lot of people run it on that. You might need an old laptop, something like that might be a
I
good
do.
thing to.
Okay, I have a Bitcoin node. I'm already running a Bitcoin node on the old laptop that I have.
Okay.
So is that that's like a prerequisite to having a Lightning node, I guess, right? Is that what you're saying?
I guess so, but I'm not even sure. I haven't gone down that road for myself. It's still kind of in beta technology and so forth. But yeah, no, I think you just have to find a FAQ and then follow the FAQ. I imagine it would be a bunch of Linux commands, unpacking this, compiling that, unpacking this, compiling that, and then eventually you'd get a Lightning node. They're saying in the chat that yes, a full Bitcoin node is required for a Lightning node. They're saying, B. L. Dwyan, thanks for the comment. He says, there is a Lightning node how-to for Raspberry Pi. So you might want to check that out. But yeah, I mean, pretty much you're on the cutting edge. So your things are probably going to be help files. If you find a good help file, definitely share it with everybody. I haven't gone down that road yet. Basically, I just, get up and do these shows and write the shows and do the shows. So I haven't got a chance to play with it
Right.
yet, but let us know how it goes. I'm definitely curious. And if I had
Okay,
more
I do
time,
have one more question. I don't know if
sure.
you can answer it or not, but maybe the chat can.
Mhm.
Once you do have a Lightning node up and operational, are you only able to accept Lightning transactions, or can you accept like regular Bitcoin transactions?
I think your Bitcoin node would keep functioning as normal to keep the blockchain going. So I think it would be more like running a Bitcoin node and a Lightning node. And as they said in the chat, you can't run a Lightning node without a Bitcoin node. They're saying in the chat, yeah, they need Bitcoin node demos. I know we had one, but it's years old. Chris Ellis used to do Bitcoin nodes with the Raspberry Pis, and he would talk
Yeah,
about that and build
setting up
them
the
all the time.
Bitcoin node is not that difficult. I've done it. I've done it myself, just following some how-to things on that I found on Reddit, and it was fairly simple. Running your full node, you could literally just go on the website, download the full client, and that's kind of it. I mean, unless you can do it on the Raspberry Pi, then I really have no idea how to do that because I don't have any experience with Linux. But yeah, it was pretty easy for me to set up the Bitcoin node. I just have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to Lightning, and I really want to be ahead of the game, and be like ready for whenever it takes off to have like something available.
Definitely the way to go, and it's always fun to install these new and beta technologies. I'm not as much into it as I used to be, but at one point I once installed Windows 95 beta off of like 35 floppy disks. And if one of those floppy disks went bad during the install process, you would pretty much brick the computer and have to reinstall a new operating system. So it was some wild times. I used to break Windows all the
Good old
time.
days.
Yeah. I kind of lost my interest in beta software. You pretty much need a second computer to run your beta software on if you don't want to screw anything up on your main computer. And I rarely have that. So
Right. Yeah, well, I mean, I did have an older laptop that I didn't use anymore, and actually, I only set it up after I heard one of the callers on this show say that they had an old laptop that they set up their Bitcoin node on, and I was like, oh, I can do that. I have an old laptop that's just sitting here, So I set it up, and I only ever just used it once to check a transaction to make sure that the transaction was valid. Other than that, I usually just go to any third-party block explorer or whatever they're called, like like blockchain.info or whatever. But I hear everybody like you guys saying, run your full node, run your full node. It's the right thing to do. It's the correct way to Bitcoin. So so I'm running a full node now. Yeah, so I don't know. I'll let you guys know if I figure out the Lightning or if I completely mess it up.
well, let us know how it goes, and don't put any of your own money in there or something. I don't know. Be careful with your funds.
Right.
But
Well, I mean, I'll put like $10 in there or something. I know you have to stake some Bitcoin in the Lightning node for it to work. I think, but I'm not really 100% sure how it works. But what I understood is that you put a little bit of Bitcoin in it, and then when people use the Lightning node, you're basically letting them use your Bitcoin to do this transaction, and then whenever you close the channel, you kind of settle it on the main chain, right? Something like that.
Yep. Yeah, you put the money in a channel and then it's like lightning money, and then you either spend it all or you decide to cancel and go back to the main chain and you do that. Otherwise, the little pieces of your transactions, they might end up in somebody else's lightning wallet, and when they're ready to cash out, it'll cash out all those little pieces of the transactions into their Bitcoin wallet.
All right. Yeah. So I definitely need to go back and do a little bit more research, and I'll experiment a little, and next time I'll call in, I'll let you know what happened.
That sounds great. Definitely give us a call in when you've got it all set up. Thanks so much, Mustafa, for the call.
For sure. No problem, man. Talk to you guys later.
All right. Talk to you later. And we're taking your calls this morning. We're on the real phone network at 518-600-1949. And remember, you can always call us from a Gmail account pretty much anywhere in the world or from any telephone anywhere. And we'll keep that one open. We might try to open up Skype again, but I'm afraid if I do that, it's going to ring them both at the same time again. It's like cavalcade of disaster over here. But MS Bit ETH, yep, 518-600-1949. I can paste it in the chat for you guys so we can confirm that. But yeah, just give us a call on your phone right now. It'll ring right through. I'll ask you where you are. I'll have you turn down your speaker. It's best to, yeah, with the phone thing, you could just call on the phone. I guess you don't have to set up your microphone or anything like you do with Skype. So maybe it's a lot easier. Oh, come on, I'm clicking it. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Thomas. My name is Burner Mike, and I was wondering what your thoughts are on the ETF problem.
Well, I mean, it's not so much a problem. I think it's going to be super exciting when we get an ETF because all of these people will be able to buy in with their stock market accounts, and people like the large money holdings, big firms, things like that can buy in. But again, this is Wall Street's last minute and their last moment to say no to Bitcoin. And I think they're going to try, right? This delaying the decision got them another 10%. They can buy Bitcoin cheaper. If they delay the decision again, maybe another 10 or 20%.
Exactly.
This could be their chance that they get all of us, the weak hands, out of their Bitcoin. And when Bitcoin makes that turn to 50K or whatever, we're sitting here on the sidelines not holding that much. So it might be that. But what do you think, Mike?
I think a Bitcoin ETF is inevitable. Having ridden all the way through since the first Bitcoin I bought at $20, I've watched and seen it all like you have. And I think for those of us with strong hands, I think that we are going to see such benefits in the future that we will not be able to imagine them. I'm right now diversified across 25 other alts through different exchanges. And even though I have made a lot of money and lost a lot of money, I am very, very excited for the future because once an ETF is established for Bitcoin, we will see such changes in our world economic system that people will not know what to do. Insofar as people that have Bitcoin now, anybody that has a Bitcoin now is so at the top of the curve, so at the very beginning of the forefront of this technology that their entire world can be reset in a couple of years when Bitcoin takes over. I think that we're just in a holding pattern. I have no fear at all. I believe as I have seen, Bitcoin will end up being the financial instrument of our world, and it doesn't matter what anyone says now. They can sit back and be patient and wait because it will happen.
I definitely agree with you, Mike. I hope that we'll be the strong hands to make it through it. I know for me, I have less than I used to have, but that's how it is. You got to spend some to live and all that kind of thing. But it's been really exciting. I wonder what all these pink things are here on Burning Man. It looks like they've burnt out part of the image.
Yeah. I'm seeing that as well right now. What burn is this that you're looking at?
Well, the imagery is from 2017, so I guess it'd be last year. When I looked at the man, he looked like one of those pavilion type mans, like a mall. They've been building a lot of those lately. So looks like from a year that I didn't go to. But neat to see the imagery here on Google Earth. I think if we zoom out a little bit, we might find the other playa. It's like a couple miles away or something. But you can tell
Right.
they have a square of detailed imagery here that they did a specific satellite pan to get us this cool imagery of Burning Man. So.
Well, I will certainly miss you at the burn this year, but I will go to the man and I will pick up any paperwork for you and Mayhem there in the chat and send it to you so that you guys can have Larry's paperwork, because I know that the place is completely sold out and it's mostly veterans that are vying to be there this year.
Well, that would be nice, because I know it's been a lot of kind of bucket list people and party people that are going to go for 1 year and never contribute anything. So it's getting harder and harder to go. But I know some of my friends are still going to be there from Camp Titicaca, and they're building new things all the time. So it's really great. It's a great event. It's become harder and harder to get tickets, though. We still kind of try every year on the ticket day, but we just don't win anymore. And we did have we had a theme camp for 1 year.
Tickets, let me know.
Well, I'll let you know, but for right now,
every year.
It's been a busy year moving to Las Vegas and going to Europe, and going to try to go to Europe again, but we'll see.
Tom, you're living in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I'm moving to Vegas at the end of September.
Oh, well, welcome aboard. You'll have to come to our Bitcoin meetup. We do a little Bitcoin meetup here.
Of course I will. I'm going to be working with 803 Mine there in Vegas.
Oh, nice. What's that? Is that a Burning Man type organization, or?
No, 803 Mine. 803 Mine is a premier mining facility using solar energy to mine the top 10 alts of every single day.
Oh, nice. That sounds great. I love solar power. All about that.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, well, I'll let you go to have another caller come in. I thank you for letting me talk to you, and I look forward to celebrating our millionaire status in the next couple of years.
Well, I hope so, Mike, and have a great time at Burning Man. Be safe. Drink lots of water. Have a good time.
I will. Thanks, Thomas. Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.
All right, and looks like you're already in a call. Okay, so that call is done, so you can go ahead and call us again at 518-600-1949. Very cool to hear from my friend Mike. We did get to hang out 1 year at Burning Man. Mike, he works, or he hangs out in the district. It's a very big kind of nightclub, dance club at Burning Man. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Mr. Thomas Hunt, how are you? My name's Robert, calling from Harbor City, California.
All right, how's it going, Robert? What's on your mind about Bitcoin today?
Not much, man. You're watching my son, as you can hear. But really, I just wanted to call and say thank you for your show and you and the guys. I know you don't do a lot of stuff anymore with. I haven't seen you guys really together with Tone and Jimmy, but nevertheless, when I first got into it about a year ago, influence like yours is what really pushed me to learn more about it and just stay with it and trying to learn a little more about it as much as I can, which is why it influenced me to come up with the hip hop track that I'm always pumping out on your chats there.
What would that be? What hip hop track is that?
It's a little song I did. At the time, Jamie Dimon was bad-mouthing Bitcoin really bad, and it just kind of made me put it together and threw you guys in the mix as well. Kind of a little tribute of mine to you and the show. It's called Bitcoin No Problem. Hello?
Sorry, I was muted there.
Oh, sorry.
I was trying to look it up, but that sounds cool, man. You made a song. That's good stuff.
Yeah, threw you guys in the mix a little bit, you and the boys. So kind of a little tribute to you guys for, giving me the knowledge and info on crypto and all the stuff that I've learned so far. So I just wanted to say thank you, man. I appreciate, all the hard work you do. And I'm a subscriber and I watch the show all the time. And thanks a lot, man. Basically, it's what I wanted to get out off my chest.
Well, thank you so much, Robert. And I really like doing these shows. I'm all about Bitcoin. I just think it's really exciting, like everybody else. And I just wanted to talk about it all the time. And I thought if I talked about it, I could get other people to talk about it and we could share and have the World Crypto Network here and build it all up so that everyone could benefit. We could all get more viewers. And some people agree with that and some people don't agree with that. And other people
Right.
need to own everything and put their name on everything. So, that's their way.
Definitely. Here, in my place, I spread the gospel as much as I can at work. I put people onto it. I've got a few people onto it buying, you know, Bitcoin, maybe a few of the alts. So I'm spreading the word, man. Trying to do what I can, at least my part. As far as the song, that's the best I've done so far.
That sounds great, man. You just got to tell your friends, tell your family. Like I was saying to the guy from Montana, if you could just get them to take $20, they might be more interested in it. And if you could pay them back for a beer or pay them back for a meal and just be like, hey, normally I pay you back $20 and sure, I got a $20 bill right here. I'll give it to you, no problem. But if you'll take the Bitcoin, this could be worth $21. This could be worth $19. You're in the game. So
Absolutely.
I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah. Good stuff, Thomas. Well, hey, I got to babysit here, but it was a pleasure talking to you, man. And like I said, I love the show and just thank you from the bottom of my heart for all your hard work and all the knowledge that I've learned, not from just you, but even many other chat members that just have, just immense amounts of knowledge. So thank you guys.
Well, very cool. Thank you so much, Robert, for the call, and give us a call anytime.
Thank you, man. No problem. Have a good one.
All right, and you can give us a call now on the telephone at 618-500-1949. I even had a graphic with a phone number on it. Let me see if I can pull that up. And people are saying I'm zoning out in the chat. You have no idea how many windows I have open here. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, it's me, Max Kaiser. I'm just calling from the UK, How's it going, Thomas?
It's going good, Max. What's going on in the UK today?
I'm just kidding. No, it's not Max Kaiser. It's Trip Loco again.
Oh,
How you doing, man?
it's going good, man. So where?
On a Sunday, I love you guys. I have a question though.
Okay.
My question is, so Trezor, we were talking about full nodes. You were talking about full nodes. We were all kind of, thinking about this lightning node thing. But what my question is, and I don't know that you can answer it. I don't know, maybe people in the chat can answer it. It's been something that I've tried to reach out to Trezor myself and ask is, so we're always, as a crypto community, we're always telling people to run their full nodes. And I think that's a valuable thing. But my question is, the infrastructure of the Trezor is designed to be able to sign a transaction such that your private keys are stored on the Trezor. So what I'm trying to figure out is, because I'm trying to spread the word. I'm in Tijuana, Mexico. So I'm over here trying to spread the word to people. And these are people that don't trust crypto, but they're starting to. And I'm trying to spread the word out here. But the issue that I'm running into is that I don't have a really good, safe way to tell people how to store their Bitcoin. I don't want that. I mean, if I told the wrong person to buy Bitcoin and then they lost it somehow because of a hacker or because they're just stupid, then I mean that could be like, I could be like just outed. I could end up dead on the side of the road. So I have to be very careful about the way that I explain Bitcoin to people. So as we try to spread this Bitcoin adoption, especially in third world countries, I think Trezor is, I use, hardware wallets, and I've pretty much tried every hardware wallet, as I'm sure you have. But my question is always, is there a way to run your own full node? Because I think a lot of people who aren't really deep in the space, I don't think that they realize that when you're running a Trezor, when you have a Trezor hardware wallet, you're actually relying on Trezor's website to maintain their full node. So I try to reach out to Trezor on Twitter and ask them, is there a way to have your own Bitcoin full node and use your Trezor to sign the transactions? And I haven't got a response. So I kind of wanted to open it up to the community and just say like, is anybody aware of this issue? Because it's kind of like you gotta, it's almost like you implicitly have to choose between, you're either going to run a full node, and that means that you're going to have like either a laptop or a Raspberry Pi or something like that. You're going to have all your own private keys, and if somebody infiltrates your network or hacks your device, then it's kind of like having a glorified phone node or a glorified phone wallet where, you know, you have the full node, but I mean, it's just as susceptible to hacks and things like that. Whereas in by comparison, if there was a way for, rather than using Trezor's full node implementation, you could run your own full node and just sign the transactions with your Trezor or your ledger or whatever. I think that is really an important topic that I've been wondering why, because you always hear this sort of this you know, it's kind of like almost kind of like a fanboy kind of thing, like everybody loves their Trezor or everybody loves their full nodes, but nobody ever talks about how you can make them interact, because you really kind of need both in order to really have a higher level of security.
Sure, I think it's a great question, and I'm getting the answer from the chat right here. They're saying, Rad Vladdy, thanks so much. He says that the Trezor can connect to your Bitcoin full node. He thinks that you have to configure it with the Electrum wallet. So I would give that a try.
Okay.
And then as far as like holding your Bitcoin securely, I still think Trezor or Ledger is the best. I do trust them. You can basically put the keys are generated offline in the little USB box. It signs the transactions in the box. Only part that goes in or out is a part that can't be stolen. So the private keys are always in the little USB thing. So it's pretty safe, and it's pretty usable for most normal people. Once they get set up, they don't have too much of a problem. If they can hold on to their seed, right? You need your words, and maybe you put your words into a safe deposit box. Then you use your Trezor for everyday normal usage. This way, if your Trezor gets smashed or something like that, you can go right to your safe deposit box or right to your safe or anything like that and get your words. And you could recover that onto another Trezor or another ledger or any other kind of Bitcoin wallet with those words. So yeah, I don't think people talk enough about the details of how this stuff actually works, and especially how a normal user can use it and make sense of it. So
Well, not just a normal user, but the thing is that that's, well, I know, and you're absolutely right. And I didn't say this in the beginning, but I love your show, man. Like I said, we've met before in San Francisco, I think before, and you were a really nice guy. I think we shared a beer or something, or not shared a beer, but we had, you know, a couple of beers.
sure.
And that's why I think in general, what I'm trying to say is that I'm trying to spread Bitcoin adoption amongst people that are highly skeptical of technology, because they're used to moving around physical currency. So this is where the rubber meets the road. And so I'm really trying to figure out like the protocol, like the step-by-step protocol, like the way like Andreas wrote Mastering Bitcoin, where it's like, you know, these are the elements and these are the steps and everything. But that's more technical. I'm just dealing with people that just want to have a go-to set of instructions that, you know, you get your Trezor, you set up your full node, you have your full node running anywhere that you're at. Maybe you get two Trezors or whatever. But so that's the challenge that I'm facing out here. Is I'm realizing that people, it took me about 3 years to start to get Bitcoin implemented in different places and businesses out here, and it's been a real uphill battle because, you know, people are already skeptical of their own currency. There's exchange rates involved. It's kind of a fiasco. So so getting people to accept Bitcoin, it's not just that it's challenging, but it's actually that it's kind of dangerous, because if I give someone the wrong guidance, like I said, I could end up, you know, in big trouble myself. So I have to be very careful. I'm back from the 2013, 2012 days when we were all out there rawing Bitcoin, but now it's like, I don't know. I kind of try to, you know, be a little careful about who I mention these things to, because you might have the problem that somebody's going to come to you and your family and try to kill you. The other thing is, like, if you say the wrong thing to the wrong person, I had a friend, I bought him a beer, or he bought me a beer, and I paid him in Bitcoin. This was like in 2014. And that Bitcoin, when it shot up to 20,000 last year, he was calling me from Chicago, and he was saying, "Oh man, this is like, what am I gonna?" It's that I don't know what the right balance is between, like, trying to get people to accept it, and also trying to get people to understand the technology for real. Because a lot of people, that's all they talk about is the price. I've gone to a lot of meetups all over California and over here, and I feel like I'm just swarmed with people that just all they care about is price. The minute they find out I'm a miner or I have different things going on with Bitcoin, the first question is, how many Bitcoins do you have? And I'm like, well, how much money do you have in your bank account? It's kind of annoying. But like, so there's not a lot of people interested in the tech, and it's kind of annoying because I myself see that as my main concern, which is why I asked about, like, maybe there's a command line interface, thing for Trezor. I know that there is that, but I've been trying to figure it out, and it's hard to kind of piece together all the different elements. So I appreciate your show because it really gives me a forum to call in and ask about this stuff, and I appreciate the chat. But thanks for everything, man. You're an amazing guy.
Well, thanks so much. And yeah, I like doing the show too. And it's cool that we met one time. I think with normal people, you just have to get them to try Bitcoin. You have to get them the $10, get them the wallet on their phone, tell them how it's not owned by any company or government, and just let their minds go from there. I agree with you. It would be nice to go to some high net worth individuals and have them buy Bitcoin and then have them be very happy with you. But I agree that there's the other side too, where they're very unhappy with you. So I like to tell kind of normal people, not incredibly well off people about Bitcoin, and hope that they'll buy $20 or hope they'll buy $200 or something, and that it might help them in the future. And I especially feel that way when I'm handing out flyers in Las Vegas. It's hard to get a lot of people's interest and their attention. They don't really want the flyer, but I'm getting better. I found a couple of type of groups that people that want the flyer, like the buskers are really interested in Bitcoin. The people that are there to make money on the street, they're interested. The locals are interested. Some of the tourists are interested. Some of them aren't. But I agree with you about the meetups too. A lot of them have just become about the price and which altcoin do you think is going to pop next, and how many did you get of this before that and this before that, and yeah, it's a little tiresome. I mean, I remember one of them, I asked this girl, I was like, hey, what's the price of Bitcoin? And she said $300. I said, oh no, that's Ethereum. And that's just been a metaphor for most of these events, is just they don't know the difference between anything and they don't care. They are there to get the money. So yeah, they're probably the ones flocking to these other shows and listening to these gurus who believe they could predict the chart based upon yesterday's chart. And good luck with that. But I agree.
I totally agree, and I think that, well, recently what I've been mulling over in my brain, because I'm more into the philosophy of Bitcoin, the philosophy of the whole industry, crypto, and I've been thinking lately mostly about, like, how are we really going to consolidate our message? Because you got people that are over here worried about the ETF. You got people that are over here worried about the price. You got people that are over here talking about highly technical details regarding the protocol. I love Block Digest. Aside from World Crypto Network, one of my favorite YouTube channels. And a lot of it's happening on YouTube, which is another issue, because I think YouTube is has certain ways of kind of restricting information dissemination because it is private property. But the thing is that, like, I've seen this debate unfold between specifically, actually, like the whole, like, ICO, like there's like a kind of a Krista Rose type thing after he broke off in Bitcoin Uncensored. back in the day with Bitcoin Uncensored, we were laughing. You know, it was funny. There wasn't really the seriousness. The price hadn't reached some epic proportions, and we were still kind of in this state where we were still sort of anarchist, libertarian type. You know, I don't know what you want to label it as, but I got into Bitcoin because of the political aspects. And so what I'm seeing is that somehow or another, I feel like the community is devolving to this point where now we're talking about, you know, is Goldman Sachs going to start getting involved? Like, I mean, and so from my point of view, I'm just like, you know, I mean, yeah, of course I want the price to go to the moon, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know that that's how I want it to go to the moon. I don't know that I necessarily want it to go to the moon because Goldman Sachs got involved or there's a Winklevi ETF. That's not what I came here for. So it's weird, you know, like, and I feel like at the same time, you have people that are trying to come in. Like I said, over here, I'm in Mexico. People, I have to translate all this information and people, they don't have the patience to talk about the tech. They just want to see that, like, it's kind of like one or the other. Like, you either sell them the thing that's supposed to go up in price and fluctuates and it's an investment opportunity, or you sell them something about the government. And a lot of people can think on both of those planes at the same time, especially when they're poor. So it's kind of like, you know, I feel like this might be like, I'm worried that this is going to turn into like a tool for, you know, millennial, you know, speculators. And that's what I'm worried about, because I guess I'm just on the cusp of being a millennial, and it bothers me because I mean, I remember the days when I used to make a phone call and I didn't know who it was until I answered the phone, like that kind of vibe. So for me, I understand the technology indifference or the skepticism, but at the same time, I think what I'm trying to say is that on one hand, we got I feel like there's these emerging communities within the Bitcoin space that are not really necessarily talking to each other, and they're kind of all different. I mean, I don't think the Winklevi version of, or the what's the EOS guy? What's his name? Not Dan Larimer, but the other guy, the promoter guy, the guy who's trying to get to Puerto Rico. What's his name?
Brock
I can't remember. But you got those kind of ultra rich guys over here trying to promote it because obviously it's making them a ton of money. And then you have the you know, the poor people, like the people, all like the back page type people that are out there, you know, trying to, you know, sort all these different things out. You know, the what's that one thing where you can buy that just was sponsored by Bitcoin.org, Paxful. You know, you have those types. You know, these guys that are selling, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of iTunes gift cards for Bitcoin. And then you have like people that are over here politically minded that maybe only have one Bitcoin, and they're just, you know, and they're just hodling and you know, staying up at night reading libertarian literature, economics, that you care about the philosophy of it. And then you have these highly technical people that are talking about what is the BIP, you know, what is this latest BIP, like what is it going to do? And the question is how. And then you have people like Chris Rose who are doing like these funny, like happy videos, you know, like it's all a big, like, you know, kind of like a big joke. So it's like, how do you get all of those communities to merge into one? And I think that's really the fundamental question of Bitcoin right now is how are we going to get all of those things to all at least be compatible? Because right now it doesn't seem like any of them are compatible. Like when I keep hearing about this ETF, I'm just like, I don't really care. Like those of us that have been in the space for a long enough time, nobody cares about the price. I mean, I didn't care. I mean, I remember Richard Hart being on his channel, like crying about the price. I was never crying about the price. Hey, it's par for the course. I mean, it went from $5 to $100 and then down and up and down. And that's the ride, because you don't want to focus on the price, but that's my philosophy. So it's like, how do we get people who are only interested in the price? If we're going to try to get widespread adoption, how are we going to get people that don't care about the price? How are we going to acclimate them to these kinds of ideas when I myself, like I was just asking, I started off the whole call with the question about this Trezor / Bitcoin full node implementation. You know, the education of all of that stuff is important, and to make it so that it's not changing every week. Because I wrote like back in 2013, I wrote a little synopsis of like how to buy Bitcoin from Coinbase. And that's all outdated now, you know? So from a technical writing point of view, like it's hard to even write anything because everything's always changing. And maybe the answer is just wait. You know, maybe the answer is nobody's going to adopt. Maybe the answer is we need to stop trying to spread the word of Bitcoin and let people come in on their own because they hear about it and they're genuinely curious. Because like I said, my friend that I gave that $5 to, he doesn't know what to do with his Bitcoin anymore. It was on a what is it called? That old Bitcoin wallet that's now defunct. Paul Puey's thing. I don't remember what it was called, but
Airbits.
it's on a wall.
It still works. Airbits still works. I think they have the Edge wallet now is their new version.
But it's like he's openly said that he's not developing on it anymore. So I can't. So now he's like over there in Chicago and I'm over here, and I gave him this Bitcoin, and now he's like, well, what do I do with it? How do I get it out, or how do I sell it? And then it becomes like a liability for me. And this is just one speck of my life, because I have people all over the world that are calling me, asking me, how do I get it out? What do I do with it? How do I secure it? You know, and I'm imagining scenarios where they like lose the Bitcoin and they're like pissed at me and they're mad and they'll hold a grudge with me for the rest of their lives. And now I've opened myself up to all those channels, like a Lightning Network. I've opened up myself to all these channels of people that might end up hating me because I introduced them to Bitcoin. You know, so it's kind of weird. It's kind of a slippery slope. That's what I was trying to say is, and these are just random guys that, like, you know, they're not necessarily, you know, crazy wealthy or anything, but they're not like nerdy, like they're not like people like me. Like you know, I mean, if I experiment with the tech and I lose it or something, then you know, I don't blame anybody for it because I got myself into it. But when you get someone into something, then you kind of take a little bit of responsibility. It's kind of like an invisible responsibility that you take on to shepherd them through that process. And it is, for a Bitcoiner, it's difficult because, like I said, in 2013, we thought we were all here for, you know, liberation and the fall of the economy and all this stuff. Now what we're finding out is it's starting to look like the Bitcoin is like co-opting with the economy that we set out to with ETFs and all that. And I get the logic behind it. I understand, like, if people buy, you know, Bitcoin through an ETF and it encourages hodlers or whatever. But I think I'm just trying to say that I think that there's kind of a meme forming about this idea that we just, you know, everybody hodls or something. And I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't really know what the right answer is, but I can see all the debates happening at the same time. Like, I saw that debate that Krista Rose had with the Block Digest guys. And what he was trying to say is that the community right now is not really forming a coherent message. And so, like, the Block Digest guys just want to slam everybody, like the shit coins and all that stuff.
Sure.
And so it's hard to, like, we can't even come to consensus within ourselves. And so that I think that really is I think that's more important than any kind of scaling debate or Schnorr signatures or math or whatever, you know. I think, or where's Satoshi? I think none of that matters unless we can somehow or another create a consistent message and stick to it, because just saying rah, rah, rah Bitcoin is not really going to get us anywhere, I think.
Well, I think there's a lot to unpack there, so give me a chance here. First off, I would agree with you. A lot of the new people into Bitcoin are just get-rich-quickers. They don't care at all about the technology. They don't care at all about the philosophy. I think that they definitely overwhelm the original libertarians or the original cypherpunks or whatever you want to say that used to be into this. And I think this was also to be expected. There are not very many libertarians or cypherpunks in this world. If we want to be successful, we're going to have to go outside of our market, outside of our comfort zone. So I think that, you know, just like the MP3, people have MP3s on their phones. They use Spotify. They use the Apple Music Store. They have no idea what compression is. that the file
Mm.
sounds a little different, all of these kind of things. And that's not a problem. People get their music fine. They're doing good. And the underlying truth of the MP3 and of this file format is that compression works. And that if I can compress a file and send it to you, for the most part, you can't hear the difference. So it's allowed us to have much more music than we used to have, much more movies than we used to have, and soon much more Bitcoin. So I think
Well,
that.
the thing is,
Mhm.
I just want to respond to that one thing because I totally agree with you, and I just want to say that that's why I appreciate you being in Vegas, and that's exactly why I moved into the Mexico area, because I'm trying to penetrate the border and trying to really be on the ground over here, because that's where it's really going to pay off. And I know at Vegas is in Mexico, on the border, the Baja area, it's starting to catch on. There is becoming a market, however shallow, but it has been a lot of work. But as far as your point about the oh, go ahead. Actually, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sure. Well, and I mean, we just, people need Bitcoin. People need this sound money, and that Bitcoin itself, the core, the rules of the project are not affected by these get rich quickers. Certainly, I agree with you, and I agree with the Block Digest guys and a lot of other guys out there who have called all the altcoins scams and thought that the ICOs were scams and thought that Ethereum was a scam and all of these other things, because especially Ethereum, just to start with that example, they did line up perfectly with previous scams we had seen. Ethereum had a large pre-mine. Ethereum had a centralized organization that was getting the money. At the time that they raised the money, they had no code, they had no project, they had nothing. So you had to trust them entirely that they would do what they said and actually build the project and that it would actually work. Additionally, at the time, we knew that there was no cap on the number of units. They could always print more Ethereum. I dislike that idea. I very much like the 21 million cap on Bitcoin. I think that makes it sound money and fair, and that's when I get interested. And that they could always print more. And then the whole confusing thing with you have to use gas to buy ether to run contracts, which even at the time didn't seem like a technical solution. It seemed like a lawyer and a legal solution. So for all those reasons, I avoided that project, and much to my detriment, right? $1,000 well placed into Ethereum would have easily been $1 million.
Yeah,
$1,000 into
I
any of
remember
these.
when it was $1. No, I wasn't actually. I wasn't part of the pre-sale, but I will say this about Ethereum. I think that we've come full circle with Ethereum. When Ethereum first came out, I did not have the kind of skepticism that I do now about all the altcoins. I was more thinking of I was the fool. I was the young guy, and I thought, oh yeah, this really makes sense. This is really cool. And then it went through the cycle where it's like, oh, it's a shit coin and all this stuff. And I remember going to meetups, and I remember for instance, even in San Francisco, I went to some meetups, and it was like people were telling me, oh, Ethereum is just trying to take over Bitcoin. It's just trying to, and at first I was like, I don't think it is, because I was like writing smart contracts and mining Ethereum. Like I was actually working in that development platform, and I understood that what the point of the gas ether connection was that if you don't have gas, then the contract terminates. And so what Vitalik Buterin did was he was trying to confront the problem of Turing completeness, and so he came up with that solution. Now, Vitalik is going to be the first person these days to tell you that nobody really needs Ethereum. So, I mean, now with the work that Andreas is doing, I'm starting to kind of understand a little bit more, and I'm starting to kind of come full circle and to say, Ethereum is just an experiment. It's not an investment. It's not something that, and that's the thing, is that there's this ideology that builds up around this idea that there can't ever be anything other than Bitcoin. But to get back to your example about the MP3, I come from the field of vision science, and in the field of vision science, as you know, there's something called a JPEG. And the thing is that I worked with amazing vision scientists at San Diego and UC Berkeley, and what they explained to me was that the JPEG was not the solution that all the scientists said to use. All the scientists came up with a better compression mechanism but in the end of the day, they just went with JPEG. So, I mean, in other words, the example is that like, just because it's the best thing doesn't mean it's going to be the thing that's going to be implemented and everybody's going to be using it. So, I mean, so when we talk about these protocols, and so we're kind of going between all these different worlds, because we're talking about protocols, we're talking about science, we're talking about, politics and economics and all these different things. It's really hard to like say like, just because Bitcoin is the best candidate for money, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's no other research that can be done. And so I think that Ethereum is different, because Ethereum is, I think, a bona fide research project. I would never advise anyone to ever invest in Ethereum. I don't think that anybody's ever going to be transacting in Ethereum to buy their coffee. I think it's just an interesting project. And so when Bitcoin maximalists, or whatever you want to call it, are stifling innovation, I think that just goes to show you how far we've come in this community. That, I mean, I was excited about Ethereum, even though I loved Bitcoin, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to put all my money in Ethereum, even though there are people that say that, right? Brian Armstrong or whatever, or anybody, oh yeah, I'm all in on Ethereum. I'm not all in on Ethereum. I just think it's an interesting project, and it's going to be interesting to see how it scales and all these other things. So I think that there's just kind of this false dilemma that is being portrayed in certain altcoin spaces. Same thing with Monero. I think Monero is interesting. But other than that, yeah, like, Sia coin, I don't think that's interesting. There's a lot of altcoins that I think are just pump and dumps, of course, because we've been back through the days. Back in the day of altcoin trading, back in like 2014, it was like, you knew that the way to be profitable in altcoin mining was to be in an IRC chat and know exactly when it was going to pump. And that's why you knew it was a scam. I mean, I remember I invested like Xiaozhen coin or something like that. And I mean, I got wiped out, because I was looking at the tech. I was looking at the bitcointalk.org, or the, any whatever website, and thinking, oh, this is going to be cool. But like, so I'm skeptical. It takes a little bit more work to like differentiate between real scams and things that are never really intended to be investment instruments in the first place, like Ethereum. So
Sure, definitely. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on a lot of that. I know with the
on Bitcoin, but I mean, it's a gradual process.
with the Ethereum thing, I know a lot of the people on the inside there, and I know people, Vitalik was sleeping on their couch and so on and so forth. They hit a point before they took off where he was kind of shrugging his shoulders and saying it's a failed experiment and that it just wasn't going to work. And I know friends that were very close to this thing, and they're like, "Yeah, I didn't buy Ethereum because I know those guys, and they were, in the dumps. They were on the way out." And something happened, and the big companies started buying, and then Ethereum became a big thing and all that. But it's definitely happened. I think part of the reason, like you said, when Ethereum came out, people were always Bitcoin maximalists and hodl and all this stuff. And I think part of that comes back to something that I talked about a couple of weeks ago on a show that's called Bitcoin Maximalist something something. And what I said is that the reason that I think people are still Bitcoin maximalists and still sticking to this idea is because of the problem of sound money. Coming from just an economic and a historical background, my own education, I found sound money to be a big unsolvable problem. And when I found Bitcoin, it took me a few years to come back to it and to really understand that it was the one, and that it wasn't just like e-gold or Chaman Cash or any of the other ones in the Liberty dollars. All these things in the past had kind of taught us to think that this digital money thing would always be centralized and then easily captured by the old system. So even when you looked at Bitcoin for the first time, you're like, yeah, they're going to capture that. They're going to figure it out. And then also I saw it at the command line level, and I was like, yeah, no normal people are going to use that. That's World of Warcraft money. And even then I could tell that it was going to make the early adopters very rich. And I thought I missed the boat when Bitcoin went to $1, and I thought I missed the boat when it went to 30. And then when I saw it go to 250, oh boy, I really thought I missed the boat. And I managed to get, a handful or so then. And that's pretty much my Bitcoin holdings. But it's these other projects are going to come along, and things like, they want to do the supply chain, or they want to have a token so you can buy things on this website. They're not as important as Bitcoin because they're not trying to solve the sound money problem. The sound money
Right, and I
problem
don't,
is bigger
go
than
ahead,
all
Kurt.
this. Yeah. Go ahead.
I think that the unfortunate invention of Vitalik Buterin was to create sort of a circus of bizarre investment instruments that nobody knows how to regulate yet. And as a result of that, it's given Ethereum a bad name. But I think Ethereum as such could be, like I was explaining, like, when I'm out here, if I'm talking to some guy, I'm translating in Spanish, and I'm trying to explain to him how he should accept Bitcoin in his, club. Let's say I'm over here and I'm saying, okay, you need to accept Bitcoin in your club, and he's like, well, what are you going to do for me? How is it going to help? How is that going to help me? Because I make all kinds of money already, so what advantage is this going to give me? So I have to sit there and I have to negotiate and explain to him how it could help. And this was a long time ago. See, now I'm dealing with the aftermath of that. But the thing is that it's just as dangerous as saying, hey, there's this Ethereum thing, and it's really cool tech, like it's telling some nerd that has a little bit extra spending cash and saying, so I don't know that Ethereum ever should have been framed, in other words, as an investment tool. That's what I'm trying to say, is that just like Bitcoin could also be misrepresented. Now, I've had people that have lost Bitcoin. I've had people that have that don't know how to use their Bitcoin, that are frustrated about that. And so what I'm saying is that Bitcoin itself is also susceptible to those same arguments, because we're talking about something that most people would have a difficult time even understanding, much less. And I mean, it gets back to like my background in Nietzsche, where it's like, we can't expect everyone to not be sheeps. I mean, there's just a lot of sheeps out there. And actually, if you really think about it, like, it makes sense that the sheep would actually be the basis upon which the people that have some intelligence beyond just following what everybody tells them to do could actually escape from the situation, because you need the sheep to step on top of, so that you can actually get out. And you're never going to, I think that's basically one summary of Nietzsche right there, is like, there's always going to be 90% sheep. So you really kind of have to, I think that's another challenge for Bitcoin is until Bitcoin is so embedded in protocol layers that, it's like my grandma sending an email, then, and that's obviously many years out. Then we just have to, I mean, I'm not saying to hodl, because I think that hodling is kind of a pacifist. I think hodling, the idea of being a hodler, is really pacifist. It's a really pacifist idea. If my whole thesis was that I was just going to hodl, and I was just going to go, get a 9-to-5 job and just, forget about my Bitcoin and not hold strong hands. I think there's a lot of like statements that are floating around in our community right now that are kind of toxic, or not toxic, but I just think that they're misleading. And I think that strong hands is not something that people like you and me can really relate to so much, because I have to spend my Bitcoin just like you did, like you said. I mean, I have to, you have to break a little Bitcoin off. I mean, you're smart about it, and there's different smart ways to do it. But if you really have been living on Bitcoin, or you really are an active miner, or you're out in the space and accepting Bitcoin payments, or you're a content creator, and you accept Bitcoin tips, then that's your stash of Bitcoin. And you probably are, I think there's like, it's not necessarily Bitcoin retired, but it's kind of, I think there's this kind of middle ground where it's like, you kind of you have enough space in your life to where you can actually just devote time to Bitcoin, like to actually develop in it, or make content, or whatever it is that you're doing. I think that's honorable. I think that's a good thing. That's always the way I was trained in the Bitcoin space, was to don't think about it as like, oh, you're going to get rich. But, and of course we've already talked about that, but still, I think hodling is a very pacifist ideology that could go wrong for some people if they don't get involved in the Bitcoin space. And somehow or another, like I said, in my case, I'm over here haggling with, with dangerous people, trying to get them to accept Bitcoin. And it could put my life in danger. It could put me in a situation where I could be hurt, or some, and I'm, and you as well. I mean, you're out there in Vegas. There's different things that could happen if somebody perceives that you're a Bitcoin guy, and wants to, hold you hostage. I mean, we're out here, I think Andreas put it well recently, where he had a video about on YouTube, where he said, just don't tell anybody that you're even in Bitcoin. So he's actually promoting an opposite message now, or he's actually saying, don't even tell, just act like you don't even know what Bitcoin is.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to spread the word. And especially if people are so afraid to even talk about this thing, or to even go out there, I think that we're letting the other side win if we let that happen. But I agree with you. It's very hard to tell maybe rich, slightly gangsterous people about Bitcoin. Certainly you want the club to take Bitcoin, so there's an advantage there. But also, I'm not sure you want to tell them. And when I tell people in Vegas, the people I'm having the most success with are the buskers, the people that are out on the street trying to earn money anyway. I tell them there's a better way to save their money, or that it gone up in value, those kind of things. And they're really interested. So I think we need to keep spreading the word about that. I'll tell you a personal story. When the Facebook IPO came out, I told all my friends and family to invest in Facebook because I knew it was easy money. As everyone knows, historically now, the IPO went badly for maybe the first couple of months. And my whole family was all on me about what a bad trade it had been, what a bad deal. I just held my original Facebook shares. And now Facebook's up 4 times or 5 times what it used to be. So it can be very stressful. And this also made it so that I didn't want to really tell people about Bitcoin, especially my family, because they'd burned me and they were so upset about this Facebook thing. And then, of course, in hindsight, Bitcoin was the easiest hole-in-one investment ever. And we should have all emptied out our coffers into Bitcoin. But I definitely agree with you.
I think that I'll get off the call soon, because I know you got other callers probably, but I would just say that I think the summary, the sort of the kernel of what I'm talking about, is that there does seem to be a conflict of interest between our promotion of the Bitcoin price as perhaps volatile but still potentially profitable, and I mean, we've seen the Bitcoin price go up nonstop. Like it's just one big, like, straight line up. But the thing is it's always possible the price could go down to ridiculous levels and wreck people. And so I think, insofar as we care about Bitcoin as a censorship resistant medium of exchange, store of value, I think that there's going to always be, and I think that it's just that Bitcoin is just the first crypto, but I think that that's the essence of what I'm talking about. I try to do what I can. I don't actually have a interview show. I'm kind of thinking about maybe doing something, but I have internet issues and travel issues and stuff like that. But if any of you or any of your listeners ever wanted to listen to my stuff, I'm on SoundCloud at Tales from the Crypto, for SoundCloud / Tales from the Crypto. Twitter, I'm CryptLoco. So yeah, thanks for all the amazing content, man. I really appreciate it for all the years.
All right. Well, thanks so much for the call, Crypt Loco. People were big fans of you at the beginning of the call, but then I think we went too long. But let's do it again sometime. Definitely give me a call back soon, and keep spreading the word about Bitcoin.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thanks so much. And you can give us a call right now. I see people in the chat are talking. They want someone to call. So go ahead and give us a call on 518-600-1949. And I don't know, that guy had a lot to say. I really agree with a lot of what he said. Certainly as someone who lives on Bitcoin and has a little Bitcoin in savings, it's very hard to tell when to sell. I can never tell when the tops and the bottoms are. I usually sell when I'm down and buy when I'm up, and it's not really working. But it's a crazy thing, and it's also like you say, you go back and forth between those two thoughts in your mind. That one thought is, this is the most Bitcoin I will ever have. I must save this number of Bitcoin at all costs. And unfortunately, I think I had that thought, at the peak. It was, 20K or whatever. And I was like, no, never sell. Save your Bitcoin. $1 million Bitcoin. Save them all. And then you have that other thought when it gets down to like 6,000, 5,000, where you're like, I'm going to lose all this money. I've already lost so much money, and now I'm going to lose the rest. And that's when you freak out and sell. So it doesn't really work. And like the caller said, it could go all the way down or all the way up. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Wow, my name is Jersey J.
All right. You calling from New Jersey today?
Newark, New Jersey.
All right. What's going on today in Bitcoin? What's on your mind?
I hate to be repetitive, but I got to thank you, for the World Crypto Network and all your contributions. It seems you've been at it, from the beginning, essentially. And I appreciate it, man. I was one of the people that got in at the top. I was an idiot. I still have my texts going back and forth. Hey, it's 1,000. You want to get in? It's 2,000. You want to get in? It's 20,000. Still looking to get in. So, yeah, I appreciate it, man. I got in at the top. Kind of panicked. You guys did special shows, like literally comforting people like myself, and it kept me hanging around, even all the way down till we got to 5,800 or whatever the low was. And I doubled down, completely out of my league, knew nothing about it, but listened to you guys and was convinced to buy in again. And I've actually become a trader, believe it or not. I'm into cannabis. We're out in LA, we're out in Vegas. So our thing is cryptos and cannabis. You know what I mean? That's the new wave right now. And I was well on my way in cannabis industry, and now I'm in the cryptos. And besides my two personal friends that took my hand and essentially forced me to get into it, I'd say you're right up there, dude. And I'll be out there in Vegas, and I look forward to meeting you and thanking you. And I've literally made money because of you.
Oh, well, thank you so much. That sounds great. And that's really what these shows are about. I was all by myself and I was way into Bitcoin, and I told all my roommates and I told my brother and I told my family and everything, and they were like, "Okay, stop talking about this now." And I was like, "Okay, well, I got to talk about this more. I got to talk about it all the time." And I started the Mad Bitcoin show, and then later on we kind of got this feeling where we're like, this channel is always Tom talking about crypto. We need a channel where it's someone other than Tom talking about crypto. And that's why we started the World Crypto Network. And we got a lot of other people to volunteer and to share their time. And people come and go around here. It's a little frustrating, but I just try to keep going with it. And I try to keep doing these talk shows. And really, with these talk shows, it's all about the calls. So I appreciate you guys, hopefully just as much as you appreciate me. So thanks so much, Jersey J. And that sounds like a great industry to be into, cannabis, and then to move into crypto, and then maybe try to bring them together. I think both of those industries could really explode in the future. So I think you're in a sweet spot.
Yeah, funny little tidbit. We also do CBD, which is the hemp, sister plant. And the name of our company we just launched is Dr. Tom's. You can find us at drtoms.store. So I think it's ironic,
Yeah, very cool. We'll have to check that out. But thanks so much for the call. And anything going on lately, or any story you'd like to tell us?
Yeah, sure I do. I actually got into mining. I appreciate you guys. There's a few other people I listen to on your network. Richard Hart, a couple other people actually inspired me to get some GPU miners. Unfortunately, I kind of got burned. Somebody's always got one of these stories, I'm sure. I'm getting burned on the hash flare. I did some cloud mining as well. So, I don't know if you're aware, but they've been unprofitable since June. They charge really ridiculous maintenance fees. So when I got in, the price was high enough where the fees didn't matter. We were caking. Essentially, once it dropped below 8,500, we stopped getting payouts. And just recently, the price had went up to 80 something. So it's funny. We got a payout for a day, then they stopped payouts, because the fees are so high. But I'm actually mining. I got 8 GPUs, 1080 Ti's that I run. And a lot of that information, besides, again, my personal friend, I got from listening to you guys. And I appreciate it, man. And I'm kind of glad I did 80% of my investment in the physical, GPUs, and I did on the cloud mining. So it's not that horrible. I'm still able to profit right now. I think I'm getting like a $1.10 a card. So maybe $8, for my one rig. And then I got 2 other towers I'm running a 1080 Ti in. And I've been mining the Raven coin too from the beginning. So I'm not a really big fan of altcoins. I completely get the arguments that are made on both sides. And I do advocate for Bitcoin and wouldn't advocate for any other coin at this point. But I did take a shot with the Ravens, got in from the beginning. So I have a decent amount. So unfortunately, I'm pulling for a shitcoin to actually do something. But I felt encouraged. It's, Bitcoin protocol. They forked the network or whatever they did and built it on top of it. So it's going to be, I don't know if you're familiar, Thomas, with Ravencoin. Will you even talk about that on your show?
I've seen Bruce Fenton talk about it a lot. I don't know anything other than what Bruce says on his Twitter. But as far as your strategy, I think it's a good one. If you can mine a coin early, if you can discover a coin early, and if you can, risk your money in that coin, that's the beginning of a lot of people's success stories. I don't know that Ravencoin is going to be the one or any of these other coins. But just in general, you show up early, you put a large investment into something that no one else believes in or might be very far in the future. And then if you can hold it, if you can survive it, sometimes it turns out great. Sometimes you lose your entire large investment. But I think that it's great that you're messing around with GPU mining and that you even tried cloud mining a little bit, although I'm not too crazy about cloud mining. It always seems like a risk to me because it's somebody else's computer. But trying out those GPUs is a great way to get more involved in Bitcoin. I didn't have the best luck mining Bitcoin, but I do kind of appreciate it. Just like I wanted to be, I wanted to work in movies and stuff. So I worked at a Blockbuster Video and I worked at a movie theater, and I got to see all the different kind of stages of the movie process. Just like in Bitcoin, you can run a full node, you can run a miner, you can have a wallet. You can get involved in all the different stages of Bitcoin. And even if you don't make a lot of money, I think you learn a lot by just trying out these different things.
For sure, man. I've learned more about computers in the last, 8 months than I did my entire life. And all thanks to that. So I appreciate it, man.
Well, thanks so much for the call and thanks for the kind words. And give us a call anytime. Let us know how your cannabis and crypto business is going. That sounds great stuff.
I will. You're blowing up with the phone calls today, too. So I will call you back during the week.
All right. Thank you so much, Jersey Jay. Give us a call anytime.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. And we had someone else trying to call during that. So if you want to give us a call right back, phone lines are working really good today. So there we are. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, how you doing? It's Crypto Daddy.
All right, Crypto Daddy. How's it going today?
You very good, very good. I just got back from Sasquatch Land.
Nice.
In North Carolina. It was awesome. Incredible. I didn't go swatching really. Just went a little bit on vacation because I needed it. And you got my attention when you said something about what do you call it? You called the Bitcoin way back. It was like money that was played on games.
I thought it was World of Warcraft money. Yeah. When I first saw it at the command line and everything, I was like, oh sure, geeks are going to be into that, but no one else.
I thought the same way. I'm kind of a geek myself, but I'm a little older, a little wiser, and I'm like, what? This money, this is not going to work. This is play money. That's what I called it for a long time. Stupid me.
Well, I knew it at the time. I knew it the whole time, but I always have that little voice that tells me the right thing to do. And, generally, if it's just, a nice thing, I do it. But if it's an investment based thing, I am just so risk averse. I remember looking at Bitcoin in like 2010 thinking I should invest $1,000 or I should invest nothing. And for me, I was like, gosh, $1,000, it takes me so long to earn that. I was out of work at the time. And, yeah, it's just so hard to know what to do with this market and to know when to get in and when to get out and all that. So
But it's so crazy. It's so crazy. I mean, to think here we are, just a few years later, and we have this play money. But really, what is fiat trash? Play money as well. And I didn't think in those terms. I'm a gold, silver, real money type guy, and here's Bitcoin. It comes up, and it got my attention. And
well, and every other thing in the internet, like I was crazy early to, but I never made any money on it. I had a crazy early ICQ account. I was on BBSs back in the day. Internet came out. We, migrated through some BBSs to get on the internet, to get on Telnet and all these kind of things. But yeah, never any
long time
money.
ago. I
Yeah,
remember those days.
yeah, but this is the one where Bitcoin somehow, some way, even though maybe we didn't make as much as we're supposed to, or as much as the Ethereum people took, or whatever, but still, there's a little bit more money in my pocket than there used to be. So it's working all right.
That's true. And yeah, way back, and as I was looking at it, I did say, well, what if? What if? I would have put a few dollars, and I mean, maybe 100. But then I did. It was very difficult to find, at least for me, to find a way to capture this digital money and keep it somewhere safe. I mean, we're talking 2013, 2012 when I was kind of looking at it, and I poo-pooed it as play money.
Definitely. I don't think there was a lot of good places to hold it. And the chances are I would have bought it, put it in a bad exchange, and that exchange would have went down and stolen it from me, or I would have bought it and it would have doubled and I would have sold it all thinking I was the smartest person in the world. I know for me, at least back in the day, I had kind of a mental block on things that I didn't know how to do. And now I think I'm much more flexible. And if there's something like change the filter on the pool, I'll go Google that and I'll find a YouTube video of some guy who's a professional pool guy, and he'll teach me all the ins and outs of how to change that pool filter, or change your oil in your car, or whatever it is. These kind of spots in my mind that I don't know about things. And back in those days, it was Bitcoin that I didn't know about, and I didn't know how to Google how to buy Bitcoin. Because I just couldn't ask a question like that, and I couldn't seem so stupid, and all that kind of thing. And yeah, it took me years before I was able to Google how to buy Bitcoin, because I didn't have any friends that were into it. I didn't have anybody telling me, whispering in my ear, "This is the one." I found it for my friends. I showed it to my roommate, who was a computer programmer. He wasn't into it, and I kind of thought he knew what he was talking about, and maybe he did for some points, but not for others. And yeah, it just, the sooner you get in, the better. And that's why I try to tell people now, like, just to get, if somebody had given me $10 in it, I would have sent it around to my different wallets, and I would have started understanding right away what it meant and what it worked. But until you got that $10 in, it's just all theory. And you can think that it's theory, but it's also a big, big, big scam. And maybe everybody that's telling you is in on the scam except you. And I think a lot of people think that. A lot of people go that way.
And most of the people still do. I mean, they're looking at Bitcoin like it's play money. That's why I'm a believer that Bitcoin's going to go way beyond 20,000, and not because I wanted at that price, but because because basically it's one of those types of coins, one of that wealth transfer mechanism that's trustworthy, that no one else holds the keys to. No one. It's incredible. And I read what the chat's saying about the altcoins, but you can't beat Bitcoin. You just can't beat it. 10 years, I mean, it's proven to me. You know, it doesn't take me that long, a decade.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think we're gonna get there. It's just a question of how soon it gets there. We had that crazy 20,000 run that made everybody so excited 8 months ago, and now people in the chat say Bitcoin's going to 5K. So we just got to get this direction figured out and start going in the right direction again. Now I know you've been sharing some of your sad story in chat, and I don't know how much you want to go into this, but I just want to say that I have compassion for you, that maybe you bought the top of Bitcoin and maybe your family's upset at you now. And that's a super bummer, man, that you're on the other side of that one. I know a lot of people on. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying I don't use all my money. It's just that was a quote unquote investment. Let's just put it that way.
And I think it's probably going to pay off in the future. We got to stick with this.
Exaggerate on the chat, like it's some people call me a troll. I'm not really trying to troll. I just try and have fun. But yeah, no, it wasn't exaggerating about buying it. That's right.
Well, it's again, people don't share. They don't share stories of their losses. People always tell you how they made $1 million on $100 investment and all this kind of thing. But for every one of those, there's a bunch of people that turned 20,000 into 10, that turned 100,000 into 5. We all go both ways on this thing, and I just think it's great for people to share the actual truth about what's going on. And it's tough to say right now to be, like we're going to 40K or we're going to 50K, but on a long enough timeline, given enough chance, there's only 21 million Bitcoins. And when the halving happens again in 2020, we're going to reduce the amount being produced by 50%, and that this is on a schedule, and this happens every 4 years in Bitcoin. The supply goes down. So if we don't go up in price every 4 years, this thing ends. And I just think we've got to wait till the halving. We've got to wait till that event or the ETF or another big event that gets us more buyers and less sellers.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a trusted digital currency that, well, look at what's going on in Venezuela, and now Turkey's coming along with hyperinflation. Look at what's going on there. I mean, and now I look at the gold price because it gives me in those terms, so it gives me an idea of what their money is doing. And like Venezuela, gold is like in the 100,000s, whatever, their money, and it's doubling every 18 days, from what I understand. So, the Bitcoin, I'm not sure if Bitcoin can be traded in Venezuela. I don't think it can. But if it could you imagine how much that would be? So, we're heading towards hyperinflation at some point. This thing can't go on with the Federal Reserve. So, we're going to get to the point where cryptocurrencies are going to be it, I think.
I think so too. I think that, like they're saying in the chat, there's only 21 million Bitcoin and there's 36 million millionaires. So all the millionaires in the world, they can't have one Bitcoin if they decide to. And I think that Forbes article from this morning saying that Bitcoin is the only asset that's not correlated with the old system. So if you think we might be heading towards a global financial crisis, your only safe bet is Bitcoin. And people are going to figure that out.
All right, buddy, I'll let somebody else come in. I just want to thank you for being here because I'm here, and I love listening to your shows and so forth.
All right. Thanks so much for the call, and give us a call anytime.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Right. And we've been getting a lot of calls today. We've been on for about 2 articles already, or 2 hours already. I'm not sure how much longer we're gonna hang on here. I have been working on editing my second video from Las Vegas, where I gave out flyers on the street. I'm going to do that again next week. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Thomas. My name is Dave. I'm calling from Youngstown, Ohio.
Hey, Dave. What's on your mind about Bitcoin and crypto today?
Oh man, there's so much stuff. I mean, it's been a really exciting time. I've been in for, 7 years now, I want to say. So been through all the ups and downs. It's been one heck of a wild ride. Wish I could say I was retired off of it, but I am not. I still have to work a day job. But I'm hopeful.
Well, it's good to still have that day job. I remember it was just a couple of years ago. I was doing mad Bitcoins, and I was kind of, just scraping by on donations and a little bit of YouTube ad money and a little bit of Bitcoin and all those kind of things. And we started to head into that big downturn. And I told people very early, I was like, it's time to get jobs. Like, we thought that this was the end, but this is not the end. We are gonna, go down, and it went from 1,400 to $200 for seemed like forever, and there was no enthusiasm, there was no excitement. Even around here, I got a job. I went to San Francisco and got a job, and the World Crypto Network at that time was mainly my friend Theo Goodman, just keeping it up, keeping the shows going. But yeah, a lot of people left crypto then. A lot of people never came back. So it's quite something to be surviving through this. And yeah, it's a bummer not to be retired. I know a lot of people who have more money than they know what to do with. And I'm definitely not one of those people. But, who knows? Maybe someday Bitcoin will go up again, and we'll all be fine. So who knows?
Oh, I have no doubt of that whatsoever, actually. You know, during that whole time that, the 2013 through 15, 16 bear market, I was watching you guys pretty much every week. I'd check back in every few days, and when I had a spare $100 or whatever, I'd throw it in. Just accumulated during that whole time. So it's not, there was. I think it's harder now, just because the price is so much higher. But if somebody, I tell all my, all the people I work with, and anybody, who will give me an ear for the, good hour or so it takes to explain everything to them, look, when you have a little bit, put some in and just wait,
Definitely. I think a lot of normal people should be using this as a savings account or as an alternative stock market account. And, put 20 bucks in the stocks, put 20 bucks in your savings, put 20 bucks in Bitcoin, and just see how it goes.
Yeah. And it's pretty hard actually to put, in stocks, because I do maintain an active, trading account in stocks, mostly options. I focus. I own a couple of positions in some bullshit penny stocks. I'm, short one and long another or whatever. But, it's hard with stocks because you can't, you can put a little bit in depending. Well, I guess there's that Robinhood thing, right? And that's basically commission free. But if you're going to have any of the main brokers like Schwab or E-Trade or any of that, it's like $9 or $10 every time you pull the trigger.
Well, that was always my problem with stocks is I only had like $100 to invest. So I'm spending 10% every time I make a mistake on buying this one or buying that one. And it's going to eat up my whole roll really quick. And when I got into crypto, that was one of the things I was so happy about is they had percentage-based fees. So if you're trading with 10 bucks and you pay a fee of like 20 cents, it's fine. You can keep trading. But yeah, if the fees are just $10 or $5 or any kind of non-percentage based fees, it'll just eat up your roll.
Oh yeah. And I'm like the previous caller mentioned about, or actually I think it was you said that people don't share their losses. I will happily share my tales of woe of, having blown up trading accounts and, been, oh God, when Kmart was, you remember they went bankrupt and then Eddie Lampert bought the bonds and then reissued the shares under KMRT. This is probably going back to maybe 2003 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, I thought it was garbage. So I was buying puts on it, and every day the thing would go up like crazy, and I was the guy, like, laptops on the floor and my head is on the ground and I'm pounding like, oh my God, I can't believe it's, yeah, there's a lot of tales like that in the financial world.
That's still though, that's the right strategy to get rich, is to pick something that other people don't believe in, to buy a lot of it, and then when it goes down, you buy another lot of it, and then when it goes down more, you get some more, and you just keep believing, and maybe it goes all the way to zero, but maybe it comes back and it skyrockets, and your belief is what led you to that. So that a lot of people have that same story with the altcoins, but then the crazy altcoins pay off.
Well, the thing with like, you know, in crypto and in, well, actually it depends. It depends on how you're like on, if you're on margin, you don't have that luxury, you know, because once you go down so far, they just liquidate your position and you're out. And options, you have to be correct within a certain time frame because your option runs out on you if not. But if you own the asset itself, like Bitcoin, you can weather anything. You know, that's what they mean about strong hands, is that there's nobody that's going to take it from you regardless of what happens to the price. And then it's just on you to, you know, maintain your emotions and not do stupid things.
There are so many exciting and horrible ways to trade with all the margin and the leverage and the options, and it just gets so complicated. I don't know.
Yeah, you can definitely make it more complicated than it needs to be.
Yeah, and they like their jargon too. They like to disguise everything in jargon, and it could be margin. Oh, you mean they loaned you the money? No, I mean margin. You know, we could use words that everyone knows what they means, or we could use bizarre language like they do. So
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, I'll let somebody else go ahead. I just wanted to, you know, call in and participate in this. I love the show, love what you're doing. You've definitely been in my ears for the last 4 or 5 years now, something like that. So, you know, keep up the good work.
well, thanks so much, Dave. That's super cool. It's always funny to hear, that people do listen to these shows. A lot of the times, I just think I'm talking to myself here, and then I'll meet somebody, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I listen to your show during my commute. I listen to your show after work. I listen to your shows before work." Like they love the shows, and I love providing them. And at times, I wish we had a larger audience or whatever, but I'm glad that I have the audience I have because they talk to me and they comment and we have discussions, and some of them disagree with me and some of them don't. And I like the ones that stick around for the discussion. I think that's the best.
And, you know, it'll come with time. You know, you keep putting it out there, and it's there basically forever. As long as you don't mention Alex Jones, then
Yeah.
you're okay. But basically, you just stick to your knitting, as they say, and the audience is there for you.
Well, that's it. We're just gonna keep on going. So thanks so much for the call, Dave, and give us a call anytime. All right. And we're getting lots of good calls today, but it's been like 2.5 hours, so I'm going to tap out. But thanks again for everybody who calls. Thanks to everybody who gave us a thumbs up and a share. We have 185 live viewers. It's really great. Thanks again for all the thumbs up and the shares, the Bitcoin donations. We've been showing the map. It's starting to fill up there. We're getting a lot of pins in the map. And remember, when you call and you tell me where you are, which again, you don't have to, you can, tell me you're in New York City or whatever. I'm not going to look you up. But yeah, it's getting very cool. We have a lot of cool calls. Some people from California, from the Northwest, a couple of people in the Midwest even, and then a lot of people in the Great Lakes area. A lot of Bitcoin activity there, as it turns out. So very neat. And as I said before, I've been working on editing my new video right here of me in Las Vegas handing out flyers. It's getting pretty good. I kind of got to go through the sound again and make sure the sound is all okay and deal with that. Watch it about 3 to 5 more times and cut out anything that stands out. But I do hope to have this video out tomorrow, showing that I handed out flyers again on Fremont Street, and hopefully inspiring some of you to go out to your own neighborhoods and own people and hand out some Bitcoin flyers, because I really think that this is how we're going to spread the word about this. It's going to be us. I was listening to that book again, Un-F Yourself, great book. And he was saying, yeah, once again, people are waiting around for the cavalry to arrive. And they're like, yeah, the cavalry is going to be here and then everything's going to change. But the real truth is you are the cavalry. You are the ones you've been waiting for, and that you have the strength to do anything that you want to do and to make anything possible. So it really is up to you, and it's our chance to tell people about Bitcoin, and we are the ones that we've been waiting for. So thanks so much for all your support. Give us a thumbs up and a share. If you've got some extra Bitcoin or crazy altcoins, you can donate them now to the QR codes on your screen. And we'll be back again tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. West Coast time, right here on the World Crypto Network. Be sure to subscribe down below. And until next time, bye bye.